Tie-dye Jeff, you know. Christy Brown is our Vice President of Sales and Marketing, and I'm Steve Thompson, President of Emery Thompson Machine. We're really glad you're here, and just want to quickly say that questions are very important. What you think might be a simple question that you are afraid to ask, everybody else is wanting to know the same thing. So raise your hand if you have a question. We'll give you a nod if we can't get to you. What's the matter? You don't like my shorts?
No, what I said was, look at him sporting these new yacht shorts.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I'm mostly colorblind, so sometimes I come in here.
You can't hear, you can't see, you can't make ice cream. What's the deal? You make a hell of a machine.
Thank you. Well, that's all I have to do, isn't it?
That's true.
So,
That's true.
I'm doing one thing right.
Which is all we should expect.
Yes. We're going to get right to making ice cream instead of me blabbing on. But please, if you have questions, raise your hand. We'll give you a nod, and we'll get back to you very quickly because it's pertinent to that point in time. And there's no such thing as dumb questions. Well, there are, but you know. But the interesting thing is when we take a break for the bathroom or for lunch or anything like that, everybody comes rushing up with questions. Where were you when everybody else wanted to hear? So please ask away. You're up first. What are you making?
That's okay.
Tell them about your three world's best flavors.
I have
vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry.
You have, but YouTube hasn't heard it yet. Our audience.
Today, we're going to break out the three top flavors in more than 600 ice cream stores in the world. And we haven't made them before for you guys, or you guys. Way up in the balcony, we haven't made them for you either.
Or you too.
Right. Okay, don't you have somewhere you got to be?
Yeah, right here. Go ahead.
Okay, I need a strong guy. All right. In this freezer, I want you to take this out and put it up on that front desk. It's got handles on the sides. Perfect.
It's going to be a long class if we have to wait for that to thaw.
It's not.
Okay, you know that we get our mix, it's called, the ice cream mix, from dairies. And every state has them, and I think you put a list, right? It's
Yes,
in there?
there's a dairy supplier.
Yeah,
list
you
in
all
the
have
back.
the supplier's list somewhere in there. You don't have to go for it now, it's all right, because then you won't be watching me. Right? Right? Okay. Anyway, the dairies deliver the mix in bladders. You know about the bladders. Each bladder is 10 quarts. And you get 2 bladders to a box, and this is what it looks like when it comes from the dairy. Yes, the price has gone up. When I started in this business, these boxes, the box was $23. Now they're up around $65. But it doesn't matter. Why not? It doesn't matter because our profit margin is going to be somewhere around 65%, which is ridiculous. I say ludicrous, but that TV commercial really bothers me. Okay, so this is how it comes, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to open them up. All the dairies produce a blend, a mix, which is either 10% butterfat, 12, 14, 18, 22, whatever. And sometimes, most of the dairies use a little vanilla, and they're all white. They're not vanilla mix, they're white mix. Some dairies, the one in Florida particularly, there's 2 in Florida, one does, one doesn't. This is the one that does. It's in Sarasota, it's called Dairy Mix. And they make a chocolate mix, which is, this is what that looks like. Same 10 quarts, same 10% butterfat, but this is a chocolate mix. Actually, I think the chocolate is 12% butterfat. My mistake. I pay him to do this, you know. Thank you. So, the first flavor we're going to make today is chocolate velvet. Quick story how this came to be. When I used to teach the in-person classes, somebody came in after lunch and he said that he went to Sam's Club and he bought a tray of these cool things, and they're Ferrero Rocher. You know what that is? Those little round foil balls with a nutty, crispy, chocolatey confection in it. He said, "Can you make ice cream out of this?" I said, "Sure." Put them in the freezer. Hour later, 2 hours later, took them out, put them in the Ninja, made a powder out of it. Poured it in with the mix, and the result was ridiculously, amazingly great. When I brought it home and I had a quart, I said to my wife, "Try this, it's really good." Here's what happened. She went like this. "Oh man, Nutella." That's the first thing, because those Ferrero Rochers are hazelnut crispy chocolates. So that's how this ice cream started. Since then, it's become the #1 flavor in probably most of the stores that I have taught. And, well, you'll see. The best ice creams have the fewest ingredients, in my opinion. This ice cream has 2 ingredients. Here's one of them. The other one is right here. So that's it. So let's, I like to can you ask, I told him I need the drill.
Mickey?
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a half batch in here. This is a 24 quart. And because we don't have to sell the ice cream, I'll make a half batch. It's still going to give us 3 gallons of ice cream. So a half batch is going to be 6 quarts. Of course, we all put our phones off, as we know to do, don't we?
It's my blind and deaf doctor.
It's the big boy drill.
Okay, and the thing is where the...
Paddle bit?
Yeah. So we're going to put 6 quarts in here. You see the markings on it? If you do it like this so that you read it, you're then pouring and leaning and watching. So make a note of where the 6 quart is. It's right here. Turn it away from you, and you can see it through here. That's a 25-cent tip. So there we go. Did I do that okay?
Beautifully.
Aside from my hand. Everything okay?
Yeah, he said it's time for my lung, heart, and kidney transplant.
Okay, after lunch?
I said after lunch.
Have some ice cream then. All right, so what we're going to do is we could just put the Nutella in here and the mix in here. However, it gets sort of gunky. So what I like to do is just blend it a little prior to putting it in. You can hear a pin drop. They're so wrapped.
We want to taste it.
All right, so what we'll do is we'll put a little in here, enough to mix, say. And we'll put the rest in the machine. Don't try this at home. Actually, do try it at home. Has anybody not had this? Whoa.
We gotta get a little quick taste.
A little what?
Can I just take a little taste for her? This is great stuff. Thank you. We didn't have it? There you go.
All right, we'll pour this in here and scoop it out.
Did you want to try it?
That's all right, they'll try the ice cream. Nutella is, imagine being the guy who invented it. It's an amazing flavor that has no competition in the world. Is my mic on? I don't hear. Are they breathing out there?
It's a quiet class this time.
Boy. I think they're waiting for an episode of Gunsmoke.
I think once they taste some of Christie's rum ice creams, it'll get things going.
When are you making the boozy flavor? First, second,
Third.
or third?
Second.
Second? Me too, so they'll have mine before yours. By lunchtime, they'll all be looped. Yes, sir.
What do you do if you do not have access to chocolate mix?
Well, great question. In my book and in the course, you'll see the recipes for using it without the chocolate mix. And that simply means taking the white mix. Can you make it a little cooler in here?
Sure.
We're all sleeping. It means taking the white mix and adding a powder, not a cocoa powder, but a similar product. I use Giardelli's.
Go ahead.
This is my damn segment.
We always share.
Well, you're going to tell them what not to use.
No, this is just like your Giardelli, except
Okay.
that's Forbes chocolate.
Okay.
So there are powders out there, and they're fantastic. So you can make
Yeah, and
your
they'll
own.
work. I think now more and more of the dairies have chocolate mix.
Will they tell you what powder they use? If you want to know, like say your
No. They don't use what Steve says. Steve likes to say they're not in the chocolate business. But I got to tell you, well, you'll be the judge. You'll taste this. As a matter of fact, all three flavors that I'm making today use this. So you'll be the judge, okay? That was easy.
But if you're not in Florida and you're not on this part of Florida, you're going to use a powdered mix because if your dairy
Well,
doesn't
not
have it-
necessarily. There are more and more dairies are coming up with this because of the, it's profitable.
Can you make your own? I mean, would increase your profit if you make your own base for making ice cream?
Yeah, nobody does that. Nobody makes their own. Really, it's
Okay.
The Food and Drug Administration gets involved in it. You become a dairy, and yes, you can make your
Oh,
own mix.
no.
And
Okay.
people you have to buy a pasteurizer to do it. It's very complex, and the government's going to be in bed with you.
Okay,
So it's
there's the,
everything is doable, but is it really worth the effort?
just
These are
flung
professionals
Nutella.
who do
What?
this.
You just flung Nutella.
I know, I'm a Nutella flinger.
going through the hassle.
Give me, here, let me have it.
It's not.
Where's the top? Just get one of those tops, that's all. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. So now we're going to pre-mix it. This is essentially what the machine does. It's just easier to put the Nutella in a big bucket like this than put it in the machine. It gets a little messy. I used to do it that way. Now, can you see the color? Now it's going to turn darker. See the color now? So we'll add this in here. First we'll turn it on. not the refrigeration. We'll simply turn on the mixing blade called the dasher. And we press the machine once and it says make ice cream or get help. Let's make ice cream. And then we're going to go to homemade and turn it on, which will turn the dasher counterclockwise at 234 revolutions per minute.
There you go.
The machine is a variable speed machine, so you can alter that. You want to make gelato, you slow it down. You want to make ices, you keep it at that speed. Homemade ice cream is 234. Okay, let's add it in. That did a lot of good. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Speak up, please. For a 6-quart machine? Oh, 3 of those. The recipe's in all my literature. For a full batch, 10 quarts, it's 106 ounces, coincidentally the size of the large Nutella. Couldn't find the large one because I wasn't by a restaurant depot, so I got the supermarket big ones, which are 26 ounces.
And how many of those? Nutella's in a 24?
Trying to write this recipe down? I can't allow that.
Just quickly jotting some thoughts.
No, 2 ounces. 56, I'm sorry, 63 ounces. What a mess. Okay, and now we'll just add a little vanilla. We put in 6 quarts of mix. How much vanilla you think? Newbies. Measuring
in
cups.
the back row, there is a whole bunch of cups.
2 tablespoons.
Look at this, I'm measuring, Steve. 6 quarts of mix, 6 ounces of vanilla, 1 per 1. And that'll do it. Now, what should we do before we turn it on? In this case, we don't have to, but normally what do we do? Taste it. Let's do that. Let's give it a little taste. This way, we can always add something. Okay, listen for the compressor to turn on. Just a habit that I get into that you should get into also. You'll hear it. The compressor. And then I always check to make sure that the water is coming out.
It's on. I turned it on. They watched me do it. See, there it is.
Okay. The machine, whichever one you get, will have 2 hoses in the back. One hose is water coming into the machine to cool the motor. The other hose is the water coming out, just like your car radiator. The water comes from the radiator in the hose, cools the engine, goes back into the radiator, right? So that's how the machine, it's a water-cooled machine, and that's how they work. Very simple. It's got a motor in the back, turns the dasher. This is very simple. In the old days, remember Grandma used to put a wooden bucket with the cream in it and ice all around it with a little rock salt, and then you would turn it until ice cream was made. It took about 4 weeks, but then the ice cream was made and you got to have some. The machine is the same thing, except instead of this, it's turned on its side, and instead of this, it's a motor. That's all. It turns these blades, which are pressured, spring pressured to scrape the sides, so as the mix cools down to freezing and it forms ice or gets heavy on the sides of the cylinder, this scrapes it off, brings it back into the middle. And voila, this bag will turn into ice cream. Very simple. This whole business is simple. Making it is simple. Selling it is simple. The hardest part is going to the bank on Mondays because there's so much money there. You laugh, but you'll see. You'll see. I get 40 to 60 emails a day from everybody in the whole world who's taken my class and bought the kit. And every single one of them is positive. There are no negatives. This is the world. Whatever you're doing now, you work now? What do you do?
I work for American Airlines.
American Airlines. Does everybody in the whole world fly? No. Every night when you watch the problems with the planes in the air, do you get a little trepidatious now? Yes. Ice cream. No problems. You love it. Just don't eat too much. Okay, so there we have it. Any questions about this flavor? It's called chocolate velvet, and it has a scant 2 ingredients in it, and that's that.
How long can you store it?
What's that?
What is the expiration of a batch?
Here's an interesting question. What's the expiration of a batch? By that, I guess you mean once you make it here and you put it in the freezer, how long does it last?
Correct.
It's an impossible question.
If it will finish before you...
If it lasts too long, you made the wrong flavor. If it lasts a week, make it again. So that's the whole story. Technically, if you really press for an answer, in there, I would guess maybe 4 weeks,
I
3
think
weeks.
longer.
Longer?
Yeah.
Okay.
6 or 8 weeks. Depends on how cold you keep it.
Depends on how cold you
but
keep
the
it.
answer is exactly what you said.
Right. If it lasts 8 weeks, and after 8 weeks you take it out and you taste it and it's still good, throw it away. Because it's been sitting there for 8 weeks, your people don't want it. It's no good. And we've all made flops. Goodness knows. Years ago, I when sushi came about, I was a big sushi fan.
Oh, you didn't.
And at the sushi bar, with sushi, I got into a habit of having sambuca. Love sambuca. Ooh, it's good. So when I opened my ice cream store, the first one, I said, ooh, sambuca. That'll make a good ice cream. So I bought sambuca, I figured out the recipe, and I made sambuca ice cream. I called it Slambuca. And I put it in the machine, it came out, I tasted it, and it was to die for. It was heavenly. It was great. And 2-3 days later, I threw it away. Because every person who tasted it went, ugh. Sambuca is a unique flavor. If you don't like it, you don't like it. So nobody liked it. I liked it. It was good, but nobody liked it.
Hey, Jeff, in the freezer over there, I have containers that say, do not touch. Others say
Sharknado?
death wish. Others say you're fired. Because I can't keep ice cream. It just all disappears. So I make coffee banana. It's a horrible, horrible flavor.
You like it.
I don't like it. But at least I have some ice cream to take home because nobody will touch it.
That's a good idea. Why don't we put some of this in there and market Sambuca ice cream?
There we go.
Or
No, but
or
they'll all
his
try it
favorite,
once.
Sharknado. Do you remember when he made Sharknado?
Please. The lawsuits are still coming in.
He put those little candy corns in it as shark teeth. And when they freeze,
Solid as a rock.
hard as a rock. So you bite down on one of those, you lose a tooth or a crown, and then you call them up and say, what the hell are you thinking?
Yeah, well, the attorneys, Johnson & Johnson, attorneys at law, are calling up and saying, you owe my client for 2 broken teeth. Or Christy, I made for her mint chip ice cream, but I went a little overboard.
Mint chip Italian ice.
Yeah, mint chip Italian ice. I went a little bit overboard on the mint, and I don't usually taste the ice cream.
Tape and the pen, do
Christy
we have that
tastes it,
here?
and she goes, well, I won't need any mouthwash for the next 6 months.
It was awful.
So
Here, pull those apart, please.
we'll get the strong man to do it. There we go.
Thank you.
I got lucky. But you're absolutely right. The shelf life is not a
Yeah,
answer.
you taught me that. You know, if it's taking up space in your freezer and it's not selling every day, get rid of it. There are so many good ones. Another question you'll probably think of when you stop sleeping is, how many flavors should I have in the store? I'm opening an ice cream store. How many flavors should I have? Well, I started with 8. But you'll find it's very hard to do that, because once you learn the, no pun intended, the formula for making ice cream, the world's best ice cream, you'll just go crazy with flavors. Is this thing working? Any questions?
What are your thoughts or recommendations on butterfat content for mix?
Good question. Have you been here before?
No.
You're asking good questions.
I paid him.
The question is, what percent butterfat is preferred, or whatever? What was your question?
That you prefer, that you recommend?
Okay, what do I prefer? I'm in Florida. It's hot in Florida. The hotter it is, the less butterfat you're going to use. Now, the USDA mandates that if you're going to call your product ice cream, you have to have between 10% butterfat and 22% butterfat. So the minimum is 10%. In Florida, I find that's perfect. So much so that the other ones I can taste, and I don't like it. Haagen-Dazs, 16, right?
16.
Haagen-Dazs is 16% butterfat. Now, I'm probably the only one here who can sit and eat 2-3 pints of Haagen-Dazs, because it really, that much butterfat, you don't realize it when you're eating it, and we all know how smooth and creamy and delicious Haagen-Dazs is, but it's 16% butterfat. That's, compared to 10% butterfat, big difference. So, what's Ben & Jerry's also?
Also 16.
Also 16. These are premium ice creams, and by the way, they're delicious. I mean, I'm a big fan of Ben & Jerry's and Haagen-Dazs. They don't hold a candle to mine, but they're good. Like on a night when you don't have ice cream, you're not in the store, stop into the supermarket, get some Ben & Jerry's Cherry Garcia or Americone Dream. Do we get paid for those promos on?
And not anymore.
We should. Let's see what we got.
We put him into business with Emery Thompson machines.
Where do you taste this? Where do you taste this? 2 ingredients, come on. 12 minutes, 2 ingredients?
Is there a difference between like making a custard or a gelato versus regular ice cream?
Is there a difference? How do you
Yeah,
mean?
Is it just a butterfat difference? So not the recipe, but the actual product? Is it just butterfat?
I'm having a little trouble understanding what the real question is there.
The fat content in gelato is anywhere from 4% up to 10.
No,
depend-
actually,
That's what we're doing, depending on where you are in Italy.
Okay.
It's a low air content, but the big problem is, or not problem, but It's exotic flavors, tiramisu, fruit de Tabasco, pistachio. My contention with gelato, and the rest of the world seems to agree because they're going away from gelato except for Europe, is a young mother walks in, 35 years old, she's got her 5-year-old daughter, and the 5-year-old daughter is not saying to her mother, "Mommy, can I please have a tiramisu?" No, she wants Moose Tracks, she wants salted caramel, she wants Superman. These are the sophisticated flavors of gelato are delicious, but you've now cut your market, and we're here to make money. You've cut your market way down, probably by about 2/3. So it's a nice product to have if you have the room in the store to have a few gelatos. And our machine makes it better than anybody. We have a setting on there just for gelato, which drops the speed way down. But based on phone calls, for every 50 phone calls I get about ice cream, I get 1/2 of a call for gelato nowadays. It was a big fad in the late 90s, early 2000s. Everybody was going to Europe, but it has completely died off. The statistics show that everywhere in the world except for Europe and a little bit of South America is American-style ice cream. So it's an ice cream. That's what it is. But it's low-fat and exotic flavors.
Is that the same for custards as well? I just think of
Custard's a whole different product. It's usually made out. Our machines make custard. It's the lowest setting on the machine. It's basically a 10 to 12% vanilla ice cream with a low air content, and I could be wrong. I think it's 3.2% egg yolk by volume. And you can buy an egg base. You don't have to have a dairy to do it. You can buy from iRice Company something up there in the corner called Bavarian Base. And you add it to the regular mix, the mix that we've got here, and you've got a perfect gelato mix. Real easy. I'm even going to try this.
That's for
Thank you.
All right.
Oh, that's too good to give out. We got to keep this.
It's so good, it's so creamy.
Folks, I'm going to ask you if you would.
It tastes like pudding.
That's the name, velvet, chocolate velvet.
It's very.
Folks, I'm going to ask you if you would to put your spoons in here. I'll leave it in the corner. After every show, my wife goes through the garbage and picks out the spoons because she doesn't want them going into the landfill.
Nonsense. She
The cups.
washes them and we use them next time.
Absolutely. No question about it. This is what we use on our dogs to give them honey. So I'm just going to leave mine here. Are we using the CB350?
Yep.
Okay.
I do the strawberry. It's very nice. I gotta get the strawberry.
Jeff, that was such a good presentation. I barely found anything wrong with what you said.
Barely is the key word.
Yeah. We also build this in air-cooled. If you happen to be in an area where water is restricted or a desert or a septic system, this one's built in air-cooled. Yes?
I have a question. So once you freeze this, and then you bring it out, put it in your dipping cabinet, is it hard hand dipped or is it going to be soft?
No, we're scooping it hard. It's called hard ice cream.
Yes, but you did mention something interesting there. Where was it?
What?
Where did you put it?
In the dipping,
Oh, no, there is no such thing.
dipping cabinet.
See, now you just ruined your whole spiel. Over the years, I've become very well known for putting people into business for a very low amount of money. And it's because I do take some of Jeff's ideas, which are the chest freezers that you can buy from Home Depot or Lowe's or Sears. You turn them all the way down cold and you put your ice cream in there to harden it. When your business gets bigger and you need more money, then we sell you a specialty hardening cabinet over here that it not only goes to 25 below zero, it maintains 25 below. You can take grandma's chicken soup, 5 gallons of it hot off the stove and put it in there, and in 8 hours it'll be 25 below zero. But we go in steps. I'm trying to get you into business for as very little money as possible. Everybody else is trying to sell you everything and then go away. We want to be with you for the next 30, 40 years growing your business. And that's an important approach. Everyone else says, buy my machine and I'll teach you how to make vanilla. We say, we're going to teach you everything we know about the business. It's all for free. And if you like what we do, then you'll buy a machine. And I guess it works because we sell more machines than anybody in the world. We're going to make, Christy's going to make now strawberry kiwi Italian ice.
You want the formula?
Yep. So I'm going to pass out the formula here for you. We have hundreds of formulas at our website that are there for free. And Christy has a new book out that has how many recipes? 110?
111.
111 formulas in her book, along with different stories about Emery Thompson. We go back 121 years, so there's some interesting stories in there that I put together, and Christy corrected my English and then put them into her book. So you can ask about that in the class. Jeff, did you bring your kits today?
What?
Did you bring your kits today? Okay, we'll talk about that too. So we're going to talk about Italian ice. I love selling Italian ice. I love to put people into the Italian ice business because it's the least expensive business you can get into. You don't need a refrigerator to hold the dairy. You don't need a hardening cabinet. You don't need a lot of different stuff. You just take 3 ingredients: sugar, tap water, and your flavor, and you're in the Italian ice business. We're going to make the world's best Italian ice, and it's going to cost us about a penny an ounce. So a 4-ounce portion, about 4 to 6 cents, and we're going to sell it for $2.53, somewhere around there. Tremendous, tremendous profit margins.
Okay, so we're going to do strawberry kiwi Italian ice. We all know kiwis are very time consuming to sit there and peel and dice and whatnot. So I had found some freeze-dried kiwis that I rehydrated with water, and I'm going to use some of that water as part of the 3.5 quarts that we need to make. So I'll just pass this around if you guys want to take a peek. So, and then there's another thing we're going to add, and it is a strawberry kiwi flavoring. This is made by Weber Flavors. They have almost every flavor that you can imagine. So this dark colored one is just their natural or their normal, strawberry kiwi with the dyes and whatnot, what you would find in like your juices, your drinks. They also make it all natural strawberry kiwi flavoring. Now the benefit of using a flavoring is you only need a couple ounces. I haven't actually made this formula yet, so we're going to put in an ounce and then see if that tastes good enough, and then we'll put in another ounce if we have to. So this little bottle here can probably get you about 30, 40 batches. They also have big gallon jugs that you see over there. That could get you about 80 something batches per jug. So that's very, very cost effective. Not every flavor you make needs to have a flavoring, but there's certain flavors that you do that need help. Blueberries are very bland on their own, so that's when a blueberry flavoring or extract comes in handy when you need it, giving it a boost of flavoring for the strawberry and kiwi. Because kiwis, once, on their own is also kind of bland, so we kind of want to give that extra kiwi flavor. So I went ahead and kind of pureed them a little bit so it'll look really great in Italian ice, and we're just going to dump the strawberries whole. Okay.
Why do you use frozen strawberries as opposed to fresh strawberries?
You want to go ahead?
Because strawberries are not always ripe in season. Jeff taught us this. He calls it supermarket shopping for flavors. And you just go up and down the aisles of the supermarket and you say, no, I don't think I'm going to make kale ice cream. I'll skip the pork chop ice cream. But when you get to the frozen section, the ice cream section of the supermarket, at the head of the section will be frozen fruit. This one came from Walmart, and it was packed at it was picked at the height of its freshness, put into the bag. There's no extra syrups, there's no stabilizers, no chemicals, just frozen fruit. And then we take it home, and tonight, if we're going to make the product tomorrow, we put it in the refrigerator, thaw it, ready to go. As fresh as the day it was picked.
What would happen if you tried to make that same flavor in January?
If you want to make it in January, then the strawberries are going to come from Peru and they're going to taste like cardboard. And one thing in business is we want consistency. We want the strawberry ice cream to be just as good in January as it is in strawberry season down here in Florida in March. We want consistency across the year. And that's how you do it, is with the frozen strawberries. Also known as IQF, or instant quick frozen.
Now, it's probably more expensive to buy it that way, right?
Cost doesn't matter, because we're going to get a high price for it, and we're going to have lines down the street. If we're just worrying about cost, then we're going to have 10 customers.
So it's just better to go with frozen fruit.
Because of the consistency, yes.
Consistency.
Let Christy continue.
Oh, you're fine. So when you go to pour into your machine, you never want to rest the mouth of your container to the throat of the machine. Doing so, it's a very wide pour. Holding it up above like this, you can see it's got a skinny stream. So that way you're almost guaranteed to have no spills or splashes. Okie dokie. So as you saw, I pour the sugar in here first. You don't have to do that. It just makes it a lot easier for the sugar to go down into the machine, just enough to get it wet. Don't have to dissolve it. So we're gonna go ahead and hit start. We're going to hit Italian ice and start. Now, we're not gonna turn on the freeze yet, because we gotta see how much flavoring we gotta put. Which I normally don't ever do this. So those that watch, you guys always know I got my formula ready to go and I hit start.
This is where I get to say Christy has an Emery Thompson at home and I don't. But then she's making great ice cream and I'm making people ill.
Yeah, mint chip ice and Sharknado.
You're never going to let me forget that, are you?
No.
How about your, what was it, the ice cream that's in the freezer? Ranch dressing
That
ice
was
cream?
on purpose though, but listen guys, that was on purpose.
Ranch dressing ice cream.
So we're
Don't
going
try
to
it.
use the all natural. It smells really good. Let's do an ounce and see.
That's kiwi flavoring?
Strawberry kiwi. So we're going to let that spin just a little bit.
Strawberry kiwi.
Oh, that's good. We're good. We are good to go. So you could put on there that I put 1 ounce. So I'll let you guys pass these around. This is the one that's, the normal kind you would find in your juices, and this is the all natural. And you can smell them if you want to. So I'm an ices kind of girl, especially working with booze, adding alcohol to anything. So if I was going to add alcohol to this, I wouldn't add a vodka. It's there's no flavor to it. I would probably add like a pink champagne to this. This would be very good. It has that background taste to it that you're looking for. It pairs very well with the strawberry and very well with the kiwi. You could also make it a strawberry kiwi wine sorbet, and you can add, like a very red sweet or a pink Moscato to it. You could do that as well. I absolutely would. So he asked, if you go from dairy to a non-dairy flavor, would you rinse the machine? Absolutely, because those that buy a dairy-free, if they specifically ask for a dairy-free, or if it's Italian ice, you can for sure say that it is a dairy-free product. It's not cross-contaminating, especially if you're working with nuts. Always save that for your very last flavor of the day. You want to take that machine apart, strip it down, so that way you're not cross-contaminating anything. If you're going from different flavors, from like Nutella to a chocolate to a coffee, you don't have to rinse in between. You can just keep going one after the other. Especially if you're going from light to dark. So you can go vanilla, strawberry, chocolate, in that order.
The nut allergies has become a really significant item because kids just aren't taking in the amount of dirt that we did when playing outside and everything else. They may not have dogs. They don't have the natural immunities that we do. So save your nut products for the end of the day. Make it your last run, and that makes it simple. Yes, back here. I'm sorry, can you speak up?
The freezing of the Italian ice. When it comes out, what is the freezing temperature for the Italian ice? Listen, water tends to get hard. Will it sprinkle or?
Okay, the temperaturing on Italian ice is when it comes out of the machine, it's about 21 degrees. We want to serve it at 16 degrees. We also want to build up an inventory. We want to have it for the next week. So we're going to pull it out of here, put it into a chest freezer, put it into a flash freezer, and take it down super cold, rock hard. You couldn't scoop it with a hammer or chisel. And then the night before, Friday night, you say, oh, it's going to be a beautiful sunny weekend. I'm going to go through 4 tubs of strawberry kiwi. We take them out of the deep freeze and put them into our serving cabinet, which is usually up around plus 16 degrees Fahrenheit. So it has all night to warm up. If it looks like, well, it's going to rain on Saturday, but maybe nice on Sunday, we don't take out 4 tubs. We take out 2 tubs and wait and see what happens. But overnight, you can bring it up to the scooping temperature, which is plus 16 degrees. An easy way to reach that, I don't know if I have it here.
Yes.
Do I have time?
Yeah, you do.
The freezers that Jeff uses and we recommend when you're starting out are set to go from anywhere from 0 to 10 below. We can't scoop Italian ice at 10 below. So this is a device one of my customers told me about. Thousands of them have been sold because of us by Amazon. I call it, it's like putting up your Christmas lights on your front porch. You put up the Christmas lights, you take the plug for the Christmas lights and you plug it into a timer, and then you plug the timer into the wall. That way you set the timer for sunset and your Christmas lights go on. And then they turn off at, say, 2 in the morning when no one's around. We're doing something like that with this thing called Ink Bird. 2 words that mean nothing. Ink is in pen, bird is in tweet tweet. The Ink Bird is a thermostat. You're going to take your freezer cabinet and plug it into the Ink Bird, just like the Christmas lights. You're going to take the thermostat and just drop it in the box, and then plug the Ink Bird into the wall. Again, like the Christmas lights outdoors. The temperature of your box right now is 75 degrees, room temperature. It's heading down to minus 10. We don't want minus 10, we want plus 16. So once we set this all up, we set the Ink Bird for 16 degrees. The box starts to cool down, it gets to 40 to 30 to 20. When it hits 16, it just turns off the power. That's it. That's simple, it just shuts off the power. Box can't get any colder, no power. When the temperature rises up to 17, it turns the power back on. This is about $34 on Amazon. Don't buy a fancier one. Don't spend more money than $34, $38 because they're just more complicated. But this means that you can buy a cheap box. There's a little one back here that cost me $250. It'll hold 4 big tubs, and I can now control the temperature to sell Italian ice. So if you're not equipped to sell Italian ice right now because you're scooping ice cream at 6, plus 6, you can do it with this.
And not every single flavor is going to scoop at the same temperature. So your lemon Italian ice, it's kind of very low in sugar. It's just sugar, water, lemon juice. So that's going to scoop a little bit harder. So keeping that in the center, not so to the walls or your corners of your freezer, would be a better choice. So it'll scoop a better consistency. Flavors that are really high in sugar, like this one's going to be high in sugar. Orange Italian ice, which is literally orange juice and sugar, nothing else. It's very high sugar. Keep those in your coldest points because they need to be a little bit colder so that way it doesn't turn into more of a slush consistency, which you'll start to see a separation. That's when a stabilizer comes in play. We don't like stabilizers. It's against Steve's and I religion. If you can try to do fresh and stay with fresh, that's always the better choice. But sometimes it's necessary because if you need it to last longer, 3 to 5 days, you want to wholesale it, you have to stock up for an event, that's when your stabilizer is a necessity. We're getting close.
Sir, you had a question before?
Cleaning process like these machines.
I'm sorry?
The cleaning process of these machines, is it all internal automated or is it something more manual?
No, it's all very manual, very simple. Automation just costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars. We take a bucket of warm water and pour it in the machine, turn it on. let it slosh around for 30 seconds, drain it out, take the parts out, and wash them in the sink or put them in the dishwasher. That's simple.
He's still talking.
This is what's running in the machine we're running right now. So all these parts just come apart. I have little springs on here just to hold it in place, but that's what it looks like. And this just 2 blades, 4 springs, all goes in the dishwasher and you're done. Or wash it in the sink. And it's that simple. You've heard horror stories about soft ice cream machines. They're all of them. Every single one of them on the market is very complex. They take an hour to clean it. We're talking under 5 minutes for a batch freezer. Anybody's batch freezer. We just do it better and stronger than anyone else. I mean, this is great. I mean, biceps, you got it perfect. Leg lifts, you know, the whole works.
So to know when your product's done, we do what we call a cutoff check. So it's where you open and close it very quick and you cut it. You see how it's still kind of shot down in the pan? It's still a little soupy, obviously not ready. Every chef is different, so some people pull their product a little bit thinner than others. I like to pull mine on the slightly thinner side versus the very thick. Reason is, especially when you're working with ice cream, you're filling up your container, and if you pull it very thick, then you're gonna have to knock it down, get the air pockets out, or use a spatula. If you pull it on the little bit of a thinner side, it's gonna fold in your tub very nicely and maybe little tapping to none at all. So this is the very first batch that we're running. Your very first batch of the day is always going to take your longest because your machine was warm, there was nothing in it. It takes a while to get it cooler. So if I was to make strawberry kiwi Italian ice after this again, it'll probably shave about 2 or 3 minutes off my batch times. And then after that, probably I'll stay consistent in my batch times after that. So when you're making your notes and you're writing down your formula for your ice cream maker or yourself, you want to write your notes based most likely on your second batch versus your first. Because you don't want to start your second batch of the same flavor, walk away, and then now you've got overload on your machine because it's too thick because it froze faster than you had expected because your first batch was warm. So because it's high in sugar, it's also going to take longer to freeze. So that's science. The more sugar you add, the longer it's going to take to freeze. You can't get around it. If I was to make plain Jane vanilla, you're looking around 8-9 minutes. Probably depending on how much vanilla you put in it as well, because vanilla is an alcohol and it's very high in alcohol. If I was to make a chocolate like his Nutella, that's really high in sugar, so he's probably going to push around the 13-14 minute mark. Once you start adding Oreos to that chocolate, now you just added more sugar, so now you got probably about 30 more seconds to it. Once it gets to about this stage that you saw coming out, it's going to start freezing fairly quickly. So you might think it's going to take you 7-8 more minutes, but it's not. You see just a little bit, the difference it was in just a little bit of time. It didn't shoot out there. Now it's just kind of folding out there. It's a pretty color too.
I seem to remember at your Christmas party, you said something to me about, Steve, you're cut off. Was that what you meant? Is that why you sent Paul and me home?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Any questions about Italian ice? Yes. Say that again?
Where's the timer?
So there is a built-in timer on here on the screen itself, and it doesn't turn on until you hit this refrigeration button. So the machine's running, you're rinsing it, you're cleaning it, or we were playing with it, getting our formulas ready. Timer doesn't come on until you hit this button. But Steve, I see him anxious over here, is gonna go get his favorite little old school timer.
Yeah, well, I used to tell people that you could go out and buy a Rolex watch for $40,000 because it's critical to your ice cream making. And then the IRS called me up and said, you know, $40,000, 40,000 customers, you owe us a lot of money. So this is a really cool one. It looks like an airplane. And if it's going to take, say, 10 minutes, you set it for 8 minutes. And then you can either leave it on the table and do other stuff. You can carry it in your pocket. And when it goes off, you go, oh, I've got 2 minutes to get back to the machine. If you freeze the machine up, it's no big deal. You just open the door, take out the ice cream, and start over.
And then us moms, we have internal clocks. We all know what that is. So we know 10 minutes is in 10 minutes, and we book it back to the machine. After you start working with your machine too, you start to hear it, how it's starting to change. You can hear the compressor start to change and the product getting thicker in there. So you'll start to get in tune with your equipment once you have it. So we'll check it again.
Yes.
Couple more minutes.
I'm sorry, start again.
would
Yeah.
you need a separate freezer or walk-in freezer for the Italian ice versus the ice cream itself? When you're selling it to the customers?
Okay, good question. If you're selling Italian ice wholesale and you're also making ice cream, do you need a separate temperature? No. We're going to take everything down as cold as we humanly can. When they make Haagen-Dazs, and I put them in business in 1972 and Ben & Jerry in 74, they have a tunnel that the pints go spiraling through the tunnel. It's at 140 below zero, but it's only in there for 10 minutes. We're going to put it at minus 15, minus 25 on that one, and we're going to keep it in there for 6 to 8 hours, or we can leave it in there for 2 months.
I think we're ready, so let's do a little cutoff check. I'm going to call that good. There's nothing dripping down. It cut off pretty clean. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my refrigeration. Even if you think you still might need 30 more seconds or so left to freeze it, just go ahead and shut it off. You can still hear the compressors running. It is ridiculously cold in there, so it's still going to freeze it for quite a while. It smells so good.
Is anybody else not able to get that vision out of their mind of Steve doing tweet tweet?
No comment.
I was laughing.
So
Never
when
saw
you
do
sell
that.
this in your store, you can advertise it is made with all fresh, real, all natural ingredients. We use an all natural strawberry kiwi flavoring. We used real strawberries. We used real kiwis and real sugar. I'm just going to go ahead and stop that and just leave my gate open and let that come out.
You know where the word kiwi came from?
No.
The bird.
Find out and let me know.
The reason I say tweet is because I say Boyd. And people say, what does a guy named Boyd have to do with making ice cream?
It's the Bronx tweet tweet.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Okay, what is the difference as far as sorbet and Italian ice?
I'll show you.
Looks like
Oh, here we
sorbet.
go.
Everybody's, Christy's going, oh, there you go. Now you set him
Here
off.
we go.
Now you got him going.
You've opened up a can of worms here.
Yeah, you have.
This is his thing. This is his shtick.
Yeah, you're
as he
doing
would
my
say.
shtick. This is a 4-ounce cup of Italian ice. I can sell it for $2.50, maybe $3 at a festival. This is the same lemon ice poured into a champagne glass, and I call it sorbet, and I can get $9 for it. The only difference between $9 sorbet and $3 Italian ice is the price and the serving container. They are the same thing.
There's one caveat. Sherbet is not this.
Now, sherbet's an
Sherbet
old
is
time term.
what we call cream ice, an amazing product. We've made it on the show many times. It's Italian ice with about 5% cream in it. So it's a halfway point between Italian ices and ice cream.
People who say
Excellent.
sherbet are usually 109 years old. So we now call it cream ice. But that's the difference.
Yeah,
And-
you
and-
open a store.
and
You open a store and put cream ice on the door. They'll come and lock you up.
Well, I believe that sherbet came from the Great Depression era. It was a way to ration their milk.
Wow.
Whoa!
Look at that.
Oh, somebody wants a pay increase.
And you know she's right.
I read. I make ice cream and read.
Again, save me the spoons over in this container over there for later. It saves my dear wife from going rummaging through the garbage.
And you think he's joking.
Yeah.
He's not.
A little more flavor.
A little more, you think?
Little bit more
I
flavor.
think it was good, but that's just me.
Okay, I'm going to save my spoon.
I'm not going to hit your bottle.
Oh, sorry. Are we taking a break or are we going?
I'll ask them.
Strawberry.
They don't know. They'll do whatever you tell them.
Okay.
That is exactly the same, just different color.
One is
We
all
had
natural.
written
There's no
down here
dyes or anything.
a bathroom break. Does anybody
One of
want to
them,
stretch
the
their
clear
legs and
one.
walk around, or do you want us to keep going? Oh, yes?
Okay,
No?
show of
Okay.
hands, keep going.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. If you do want to get up and walk around, you're welcome to. We won't be insulted. We'll just lock the door
And
behind
if you want to stretch our legs, go ahead.
Okay.
And how about that pretty color? That's not a dye.
Nope, no dyes from strawberries and the kiwis themselves. What do you think?
I like it.
More flavor? Okay.
Oh, not biased back there.
No,
are
you're
we?
prejudiced because you're related to my vice president.
That's my daughter back there. Her first time attending one. All right, have fun, guys.
Take it away.
Okay, well, let them eat. Screw it. Okay, so now we're going to make an adult flavor. Years and years ago, I opened up my first ice cream store, and I had maybe 12 flavors at $5 each, and I made the world's best ice cream. There's no question about that. There's no doubt, as you will make the world's best ice cream. I charged a very fair price. It was $5. I had one size, no toppings, no mixing flavors, nothing. No cones, nothing. You got 2 giant scoops in a cup, a 12-ounce cup with 2 giant scoops in it and a spoon, $5. And my problem was, well, I won't get into that. I'm not the best one-on-one customer relations type of guy. So I needed a hook. The hook was adult ice cream. In case you're interested, it's sold worldwide now, and I invented it. I invented putting hard liquor in ice cream, making it taste unbelievable, and then selling it. And every one of my stores, maybe not in Utah, but every one of my Utah, every one of my stores sells some adult flavors. It gets so that the people in the neighborhood will say, oh, you sell that Boozy ice cream. It's just a little thing, but it's very, very delicious. When a lady comes in, not to be partial anyway, but I always found that a lady will come in and look at the ice cream flavors and go right to Bailey's. Second to Bailey's is what we're going to make now. And it's called Mystic Slide. Where'd the name come from? A mudslide, right. And if you, I have in the kits, there are 50 flavors of just adult flavors, 50 flavors of adult ice creams, because they will build your reputation, they'll get people coming back, and they are delicious. We'll see, we'll make one now. We're going to make Mystic Slide. Once again, limited ingredients. That first one we made was pretty good for 2 ingredients, wasn't it? Yeah, man, that was good. So now we're going to do the same proportion. We're going to put 6 quarts. Ooh. Sorry. Okay, we'll put 6 quarts of the chocolate mix in. Now each of these bladders has how many quarts?
10.
10, thank you. As one of my favorite people would say, tough crowd, you know? So we have 4 in there. We'll add 2 more quarts. Don't throw that away when you're doing this, otherwise. All right, in the machine goes 6 quarts of mix. And of course, as Christy pointed out, the higher you go, the thinner the stream. Wait, that doesn't sound right. Oh my. We turned today into an R-rated show.
Hey, at our age it works.
The higher you go, the thinner the stream. Remember that.
I wouldn't keep repeating it.
Has a nice sound to it,
Yeah,
and
we're
your
gonna-
mind goes all
You're
different
going to get
places.
the whole thing bleeped out.
Okay, we'll turn on the machine. How many RPMs? Don't look at your notes. 234. Good girl. All right, now we're going to add, we have our 6 in there. Now we're going to add the adult flavor stuff. So, I've computed it to the amaretto Say when. Say when. When? Okay. This one we have to limit. This is the Kahlua.
Yeah, that costs money.
Okay. What? A little vanilla, maybe?
Nah.
No?
Nah, won't matter. You got too much
See, he
alcohol in
says
there.
that because he pays for this.
And look how little is left. You'll be whispering vanilla in August.
Okay, just a little. You got to call him up, Darren.
How about I just siphon the gas out of your car?
All right, let's taste it. All right, compressor's on.
Oh, the bucket.
What?
The bucket. Throw them in the bucket. The spoons.
Oh, okay. 15
My
years
poor
we've been
wife.
throwing the spoons away. Now we have to save them.
My poor wife is going to be going through the trash.
Got to speak up a little.
Would it be the same if you use the Kahlua extract?
I don't use extracts.
I mean, would it be the same?
Can't answer you. I don't do it.
So you prefer the actual Kahlua liqueur?
What did she ask?
For the actual glue and not extract.
Right.
Yes, I know that. I write.
Let me say this, okay? I'm not a believer. Okay, let's back up. In my world, ice cream is a treat. It's fattening, it's dairy, it's sugar, it's a treat. It's not a liver fillet, it's a treat, it's ice cream. I don't use dairy-free, I don't use sugar-free, I don't use extracts, I don't use flavorings. Steve hinted at it before. I shop in a supermarket. I buy the mix from a dairy, and the rest of it pretty much you can buy anywhere. That's how I like it, because the flavors that translate into our ice cream are flavors that we know. We've grown up with them. After I left here, and I knew I was getting into the business, I got a bag of mix, and then I needed to make ice cream, so I went to the supermarket with a cart, and I went up and down every aisle, and everything I saw that could translate into ice cream, I bought. I saw Snickers, oh, Snickers, let's do it. Oreos, yeah, let's make Oreos. I went to the Jell-O aisle with all the flavors of Jell-O, 100 flavors. I was throwing them in the cart. Remember Famous Amos? Chocolate chip, let's make that. The baking aisle, I saw cans of apple pie filling. Let's make apple pie ice cream. And that has worked for me and for everyone who has taken my class, because it's easy, you know what it tastes like, instantly recognizable, and in most cases, it's less expensive to buy the real food than it is to buy an expensive extract. So we differ, Steve and I, on this, but my motto has always been, it's printed right on the first book that I wrote, make incredible ice cream without buying jugs, cans, or jars of flavors or coloring. Go supermarketing. The color, it's interesting, when we make ice cream, most of the ice creams are beige because we don't use artificial coloring. So when you make, like this one, of course will be beige because of the ingredients, but when you make apple pie ice cream, now the temptation would be, in my apple pie ice cream, we take the cans of apple pie filling, which is big pieces of apple and some glop. And that's what makes the ice cream. And what color is it? It's beige. Now you could take green flavoring, coloring, or red, and make it look better, but I don't do that. Same with extracts, I just don't do it. Any other questions?
So it's a question about the extract because she's trying to save money, because we don't try to save money on flavors.
No, I
Can you
don't
discuss
do
that?
it. I don't use extracts because personally, I can taste them. I can taste an aftertaste. I've always been tuned to that aftertaste of artificial or chemical tasting ingredients. And I can taste it, and I don't want that. My philosophy in the ice cream, girls, right? Sure. My philosophy in the ice cream is, I want this ice cream to ring a bell. Wow, remember that? Remember those great Oreos we had growing up? That's what I want. I want you to remember it like it used to be, like when Grandma was churning the ice cream. I want those flavors to taste, to be reminiscent of things we know and things that are familiar. Yes?
We have a lot of kids, especially coming in asking for bubblegum ice cream. And, you know, I remember growing up, we had bubblegum that actually had the bubblegum pieces in it.
Right.
But I know, is that just a flavoring?
Well, bubblegum doesn't grow on trees.
Yeah, so I'm like,
The bubblegum got wiped out here in Florida in the last hurricane. We haven't had a bubblegum tree in 21
There
years.
is a...
Sorry.
Now I'll tell you another secret to this business. Yes, you can buy, you don't have it, do you?
What's that?
Bubblegum?
No, never.
But you can, what do you mean never?
I don't make bubblegum.
Well, I don't either, but if you did, you could buy one of these things in bubblegum. However, they all come in asking for it, right?
they do, yeah, a lot of them.
And if you don't have it,
Well, they
what do
do
you,
come in.
of course,
Yeah, they
of
do
course.
cotton candy or
Right,
brand or
right.
whatever.
So that's the story. Now, there is a secret that has emerged in the last 2 years in the business that I'll tell only you. My first ice cream store, I sold only ice cream. And then people would come in, and for one reason or another, they couldn't have ice cream. They would come in with friends or whatever, And I would say, what are you going to have? Oh, I can't have ice cream. Being the entrepreneur I am, I thought, well, I got to sell them something. So I set up a cappuccino bar, cappuccino and espresso. Everybody can have that. And I made the same money or a little more on a cappuccino than I did on my ice cream serving. I sold them for $4. $4 for either a double espresso or a cappuccino. Everybody liked that, and it was something for everybody. So I had a potential sale from everybody who walked in the door. After a while, I wanted to jazz it up because we started to have loyal cappuccino bar customers. And I had maybe a, L-shaped, maybe 15-foot bar, counter bar with stools. And some people would come in and just go there because we always had music playing and whatever. So as it grew in popularity, I wanted to expand a little, as Steve says. So I looked around and I noticed that there was a new emerging company that made flavors for cappuccinos, coffee flavors, and it was called Torani, T-O-R-A-N-I. And so I bought a couple. I bought caramel, I bought vanilla, I bought a couple of flavors, and then I noticed they kept adding to their flavors. Now they have well over 100 flavors, but in the beginning, and then one day I'm in the kitchen making ice cream in the store, and I walked by the coffee bar, and for some reason I looked over and I saw the bottles of flavors that I had, and one of them was hazelnut. So I grabbed it, I went into the kitchen, and I made ice cream. And it was excellent. Their flavors are smooth, rich, and just delicious. So the answer to your bubblegum ice cream question is go look at Torani. I hate to do this, but the #1 flavor right now in the store in Daytona Beach is pistachio. You try making pistachio out of cream and those nuts, it ain't gonna happen. You need a truckload of nuts. But Torani makes pistachio. Now, the secret of this #1 flavor is a bottle of Torani, a couple of pistachio nuts, and a bag of cream. And it's the #1 flavor in the store. So, whenever you're looking for a flavor, I don't think they make bubble gum, but whenever you're looking for a flavor that you can't replicate in the supermarket, go to Torani. They're excellent. Great people to deal with, a great company. Now write this down. If you want to go to a website that has not only the Ghirardelli powder, but all the Torani flavors, nice people to deal with, price is competitive, and free shipping, it's SeriousChai.com. SeriousChai, like the tea, SeriousChai.com. And they're excellent, they ship frequently, and they have all the Torani flavors, and you don't have to buy cases. You can buy, there's 6 to a case. You don't have to buy a case, you could buy a bottle. Ooh, I think we're there, huh? Okay, we ready?
Steve.
Very good. Excellent.
Okay, we ready?
That's in my house.
Ready? Whoops.
ago when I had people doing alcohol and ice cream. Very, very limited basis. Actually, it was one place up in Connecticut. And the owner ran into a problem immediately. The problem was that a mother's 16-year-old son who played basketball, he's about 6'5", and playing basketball, was coming in and she wanted the alcohol-infused ice cream. And the mothers didn't like that because my son is only 16. He may look high, and they come in and they lower their voice. Hi, I'd like rum raisin ice cream, please. And it was a problem because you're upsetting the parents. So we came up with the idea of putting up a sign that said adults only ice cream, you must be 21 years of age, which solved two problems. One was that the alcohol ice creams cost more, and so we need to charge a higher price, and this problem of, how do we know you're 21? So by putting up the adults only sign, you're able to have two price structures, $3, $3.50 for an ice cream cone, $4.25 for the alcohol infused. The next problem that came along years later was the millennials got hold of this concept, and probably from Jeff, and changed the name to alcohol infused ice cream. I grew up in a very, sophisticated part of the Bronx. I don't think so.
No,
But
you shouldn't do that.
alcohol infused was just too highbrow for me. I mean, I just didn't like the sound of it, but I used it because that's what everybody was calling it. And then one day, this nice lady calls up from the South, and she says, "Can I make Boozy ice cream on your machines?" And I got this big smile on my face. I said, "That's it, Boozy ice cream." It just sounds like fun, and that's what is caught on nowadays, is people call it Boozy ice cream. We're going to make a peach margarita Italian ice that Christy's going to make, and it says that's going to have a cup of tequila in it. You don't want to overdo the alcohol. We once got some 151 grain in here from a still in Arkansas that the customer brought in. And we made vanilla, and we had it frozen down to 20 below zero, and that stuff was still as soft ice cream. We put so much alcohol in it. And you taste it and you went like that because the alcohol took your breath away. The alcohol should be a flavor, not the main show. So you don't want to overdo it. You want to use it in a proper proportion, which is Jeff has got down to a science. So when we make some Boozy Italian ice, you'll be able to taste the tequila, but it's not going to be overwhelming. So I'll pass Christy's formula around for that one. Yes?
What about the regulations?
Oh, the regulations are great, but first let me ask, what do you think of Jeff's flavor? Would you change anything? It's a loaded question. If you say yes, he's coming after you.
This is good. Yeah.
Okay. The regulations on alcohol, it's become so popular that the states didn't know what to do about it. Half the states were saying you have to have a liquor license, and that was ridiculous. They take years to get, and you're really not a bar. But it got more and more popular, and people were doing it whether the state liked it or not. So all of the states now that I know of have now passed a regulation, and they've come up with a level. I don't know what that number is, so I'm going to make it up. It's 5%? Okay. So if you can put 5% by volume or less, and anybody ever asks you how much you're putting in, you put in 4.2%.
That's exactly right.
And you didn't hear it here. But if it's, find out what your state limit is. If it's 3.2, then you put in 2.8. Because I can't tell you legally that they have no way of measuring it. And besides, in all honesty, you don't want to put more than that in, because then all of a sudden it becomes a drink as opposed to ice cream, refreshing ice cream. We're using it as a flavor. Anything else to add on the alcohol?
No,
Okay.
you don't need a license.
Yeah, you don't need a license. So it's a fun thing to have, but keep in mind that you're going to offend some parents.
You're not going to offend them. It's their choice to purchase it or not.
No, Jeff has always said for years he loves having children come to his store. They just can't come in. So if you're going to run a store like that, fine. That's your business. Jeff is extremely successful at it, better than anybody in the country. But you do have to worry about it because children do drive the parents, besides insane, they drive them to where they want to go for ice
Now,
cream.
we do card, card people if they look suspiciously close to drinking age, they're carded. And that's your obligation. That's where it starts and that's where it ends.
Okay. I was going to say something, but I won't. I can't make age jokes because I'm not young.
No, but you make millennial ones all day long.
What do you do with the covers?
Oh, I stuck them in there. Sorry. The formula's over there.
I passed it around.
Oh, good.
We're ready to go.
All right.
Oh, the last thing we did when we used the machine is we took the ice cream out of the machine. Now, the way we're set up right now, you're going to see Christy and I walk by machines and hit them. We're not saying nice dog, nice machine. We do it for a reason. Because when Christy goes to pour this formula into the machine, it's going to go all over the floor. And you're looking in, you're saying, oh, the damn Emery Thompson leaks. We're going to call Steve Thompson and complain. No, it's not leaking. You left the gate open. Close the gate. The last thing you did was take the product out of the machine or rinsed it, and you left the gate open. If you leave that gate open, everything's going on the floor. It's an open door. So remember, close the gate. Just check it, go like that. Make sure your gate's closed before you start pouring in. If you're doing ice cream, you don't have to add anything when it comes from the dairy. It's naturally stabilized with things like guar gum and carrageenan. One is seaweed, one is a plant. So what they're doing is they're bonding the product together. Cold does that very nicely. So if you keep your product frozen solid, you don't have a problem with stabilizers. When you get to Italian ice, I don't use them because ice cream, you could throw in every chemical that Dow Chemical has ever made into the ice cream and you'll never taste it. But sugar and water, if you throw in a stabilizer, it can become very sticky and gummy. So in a store application, I'm not using any stabilizers. I'm using cold and making it fresh. If you're wholesaling, if you're going out to do the Strawberry Festival in Plant City, Florida, then you need to bring a week's worth of ice and you need it to hold together. So there's a couple of good stabilizers that you can use. It is going to change the product, but you're also dealing with an audience that isn't your hometown, which are coming in day after day to your store and raving about your product. You've got 30,000 people passing by your cart, and you'll probably never see them again. So am I saying, are you making a slightly less product? Yes, I am. But if you need to stabilize it, iRice has a very good one called Stabilize. And you don't have to remember that. You can write me, Steve, at emerythompson.com or Christy at emerythompson.com or call us. But it's called Stabilize, and it works for its purpose. It makes the product a little stickier and gummier, but it does the job. Also, our friend who makes natural colorings, natural dyes, like his Red Dye 40 is actually beet juice, concentrated beet juice without the taste. That's Green Mountain Flavors, and that's at our website, emerythompson.com, too. And he's got a stabilizer. I haven't tried it. I'm told it's good. But I try not to use them. Cold is the best stabilizer on earth. If you're going to go through that product this afternoon, you don't need to stabilize anything because it's going to be gone. If it's going to sit there in your cabinet for a week and a half, then you're going to be like Jeff and me. We're going to say, why are you making that flavor? It's not selling. If it doesn't sell, get rid of it.
Shots?
How much tequila did you put in?
I put a cup. We probably could a cup and a half. So notice I didn't use any water. When you work with juices, you don't have to. Juices are really great. I mean, all those Tropicana juices that you see like in the refrigerated section, those are all really great flavors. They have like pineapple mango. You can make that as an Italian ice flavor and just go get some cans of pineapple, crushed pineapple, throw that in there. We're doing peach margaritas, so I had canned peaches and then just peach juice. They don't need any water at all. The only one I have found that didn't work well at all was the lemonade. That's just too diluted. So stick with doing fresh squeezed lemons, sugar, and water.
And Christy, why that particular brand?
Well, this is just simply peach. So it's all natural, as always. We try to do that very much here. And it's just squeezed peach juice, I believe.
And they make other flavors, don't they?
Yes, they do. They have like orange juice. They have the strawberry, raspberry lemonade, flavors like that. When you work with lemonades, I have learned that using the powdered lemonades like Country Time, that works really well whenever you wanted to make a powdered or a lemonade flavor, or give any of like a really boost in a pink color to anything. All right, I think we're good. So we have tequila in, we have our juice, we'll dump our peaches in, gates closed. Here we go.
Now, we're the only machines on the market that you can put the alcohol into the machine. All the others you have to add as it's coming out, and it just turns it all slushy. The reason we can do it is we have so much refrigeration, such overload of refrigeration going through that freezing cylinder, making it cold, that any alcohol we want, we can put in there. It doesn't freeze the alcohol, it holds it in suspension in the ice cream or the ices.
There we go, peach margarita. There's a lot of other there's a lot of other flavors that you could do. Pineapple margaritas, mango margarita, whichever you want. We just dabble so much into doing flavors that we've never really worked with peach, so I thought that would be a really good one. Maybe even sprinkle some tahini on the top of the Italian ice, and then throw maybe a little peach slice on top. That's your choice if you want to get fancy with it, although that's totally against what Jeff says. Oh, you know what? I didn't do that. You guys didn't tell me. So we're ready to start freezing. So now we have sugar in there, we have juice in there, we have alcohol in there, and we have peaches. So what is that? Diabetes in a cup. It's a lot of sugar, right? So it's going to take a long time to freeze. So we're probably going to be pushing around the 16-minute mark, also because it was and the machine got warm. So this is like theoretically its first batch again. If I was to make this back to back, we're probably going to make it a little bit quicker. Go ahead.
I set my timer.
Oh, well, I have an internal timer.
I'm not a mom.
Smells good. One will probably argue that we could add more alcohol, and we probably could, but we don't want to overpower it because it's not a drink. You're not drinking it. You're eating it for flavor and taste. Yes?
Could this translate to ice cream?
It could. He asked the kid, it translates to ice cream. So if I was to make the ice cream, I would do exactly that, except trade the juice for dairy, and then I would add like a peach Torani syrup is what I would use, and then still the peaches and the tequila. So you're swapping your juice for your dairy. You can make a sherbet, and you can add, like a 3-2-1. You can do 2 parts of a dairy, and then 1 part of the, 3 parts dairy, 2 parts of this, and then the other with your flavoring and your whatever fresh fruits, frozen fruits you wanted to add.
You had a question.
Yeah, so I hear you mention it might take a little longer. So external temperatures really do you should take it into account.
You mean like
the temperature?
Yes. So she asked, should you take in consideration the ambient temperature of the room for your freeze times? Absolutely. So machine won't break. It's a tank. It could be 110 degrees in here. It's still going to run. But the hotter the room is, because it needs air to breathe. It's an air-cooled machine. This one is. So the warmer the room is, the longer your batch times are going to take. And that's okay. Yes.
And humidity as well, I'm just asking because of for remote locations where
humidity into factor too, yes. But I have heard, and it also does work too, if you keep like a fan on it in the area to help keep it cooled down, to keep your ambient temperature down, that'll also help. But once again, you're not going to break it. It's just going to take a little bit longer to freeze.
And we're meaning a little bit by just a couple of minutes. It's not dramatic because they're built here in Florida. We have always overbuilt our machines so that they're designed to work in hot climates. It doesn't need a rest. You do, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
It can run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and never need a rest.
When you get to the larger floor models, they come in air or water. Typically, everybody goes with water cooled because it doesn't produce heat and it also doesn't need any space. So you can shove it against the wall, in a basement, in a hole, it doesn't matter, because it just needs the water to keep cool, and it comes right back out. Those that have an air-cooled and a larger machine, you know, remote places that have water scarcity, or they have strict cities in California that, you know, no water consumption whatsoever, they monitor that, that's when they would go with an air-cooled. So if you do choose to go floor model, water is best. Now the thing about the water-cooled is they don't use water until you turn on this refrigeration. So you can wash it, clean it, have it connected to water all day long, but until you turn this on, it's not going to consume water, or until you turn that on, then once you shut it off, it stops using the water. It's like your washing machine at home. It's connected, doesn't use water until you actually do a load of laundry. Same concept. And it's clean water. It just goes in to keep it cool, and it comes right back out. Some people put it into a floor drain. Some people hook it off their 3-bay sink like we do, and some probably shouldn't, but they put it out the back door to water the flowers.
One little note about the air-cooled larger machines. We're a family business, in business 121 years, my family. And the air-cooled machines are overseen by our second engineer. And his name happens to be Mickey Brown, which is the same name as Christy Brown. It's no coincidence, they're married. So we are a family business. One quick trick, I was talking to a customer earlier. Yeah, you wish. We were talking earlier about, I was talking with a customer about, we're now doing what I call ice cream Italian ices, taking the ice cream formula and turning it into Italian ice. And just real simple, let's say if an ice cream formula called for a bag of Heath, ice cream is dairy, a glass of milk has taste. Water has no taste. So if I want to make Heath candy bar Italian ice, I take my ice cream formula of 1 bag and I double it to 2 bags. Now I can make sugar and water and Heath candy bars, and I've got Heath candy bar Italian ice. Almost nobody in the world is doing that except a few of my customers. We're doing Oreo cookies Italian ice, which is unbelievably great. But it's just a fun little trick. We have hundreds of recipes at emerythompson.com, and also in Christy's book and Jeff's book. And if you see any of those ice cream recipes and want to turn it into a unique Italian ice, just double the flavor. Real simple. Anybody else? Okay.
Machine, is that the CB350?
That's the CB350. 24 quart, 24 NW.
Okay.
Or 24 LA if we build an air cooled. Yes, sir. I put Jeremiah in the business many years ago. He used a used machine to get in business, and it had an electro-freeze label on it because we were building all the electro-freeze batch freezers. But he's in business because of us. It's a good product.
Did you put Luigi's and in the business?
I put Luigi's in the business, yes. Yeah.
I was wondering why there aren't so many like Italian ice products in the supermarket.
There aren't a lot of Italian ice products in the supermarket because they're all awful. One of the most famous ones that's absolutely horrendous is Marinos. And I put Marinos into business when I was very young. And they were in Richmond Hill, New York. That's out by LaGuardia Airport. And it's just an awful product. There's nothing natural about it. It's just something cold to give to your kids, and you know, I'd rather give them string beans.
And remember when you used to get those cups, all the flavor had gone to the bottom.
Yeah, all the chemicals and all the flavor sank to the bottom of the cup. Yeah, terrible stuff.
So is some of that just formulation, so it's not natural, or?
No, it's not. I have a customer up in Rhode Island. If he could use artificial water, he would, because it's so fake. But he takes several lemons and cuts them up, pieces of lemon, inedible. You can't eat a piece of lemon. Throws it into his machine so that when they hand you a cup of lemon ice, it's got a big piece of an edible lemon in it, and you look and you say, "Look at that! That's really fresh." Yes. I didn't say it was Dell, but I put Dell's in business, and Richie's Slush, and all the other ones. Everybody who's in the Italian ice business have come through here, and nobody will ever tell you the Emery Thompson name because they keep It's the most secretive business in the world. If you were making something for 4 cents and selling it for $3, would you tell them how to do it? But since I left the Bronx, I'm feeling a little more protected down here. At least I got some advance warning when they're coming for me. And so I give away all the secrets. They're all on my website, all the formulas, and in Christie's book.
We're here to help with any formulas, questions, how to make. People will ask me, have you ever made ice cream with bacon? I'm like, no, but I'll find out. And it wound up being a really good flavor. Candied maple bacon ice cream. The same thing with pizza flavored ice cream. I haven't made that before, but it was a customer of ours in Malta. And so they have like a little American themed, in Malta. And so of course I formulated one. Sharknado him.
Okay, if we want to go down that road, the bacon Italian ice was fantastic.
Are you talking about pickle?
Yes, because it was actually pickle Italian ice that Christy came up with. It was
Bacon ice cream was real, but you're talking about the
pickle Italian ice was absolutely disgusting. But Mickey is the greatest, our second engineer, Christy's husband, is the greatest bacon maker on earth. Those pieces are crispy, they're completely flat. And we thought, what the hell, we'll put one in each cup of the pickle Italian ice and a spoon. Well, people threw out the spoon and they were using the piece of bacon to eat the ice. So they got this horrible pickle ice with a wonderful piece of bacon. They ignored the pickle ice and said, this is the greatest stuff I ever ate.
That's because he just doesn't like pickles. Listen, it was a really good flavor. It's very popular in Texas.
It is popular in Texas. I don't think I'll go to Texas. No offense, guys.
If you want to watch the video, just go to YouTube and type in Emery Thompson dill pickle ice and you'll find it. And we actually did an audience shot of everybody before they tried it. We used the Clausen pickles from the refrigerated section, and with the sugar, it was like a sweet tart treat. If you're a pickle junkie like me, like I'd rather have more pickles on my sub than meat, then you'd really like it. So.
Great, Texas.
And me, here south. We're in the south, don't forget.
They wrote a song about me. It's called All My Exes Live in Texas.
Well, we still got a couple more minutes or so. We're at 10 minutes, so.
I have 6 left.
Yeah, B16. I think we're probably push around that. It's still pretty runny. Any other questions about working with alcohol, Italian ices, sugar contents, anything like that? We do have customers that he asked, does anybody do CBD infused ice cream? Yes, we do. We do have a couple customers that do that in certain regions of the U.S. That's their thing. That's what they want to do. I don't know their process. I'm pretty sure they won't tell me anyways because it's proprietary to them. Yes, ma'am.
My question is, I might have missed the dairy, non-dairy conversation before I got here, but it also has to do with being remote, like, because I can't find bladder, like a dairy bladder nearby. So do you have experience or know anyone that uses coconut oil and cream?
Yeah.
Can you repeat that? I couldn't hear it.
She, being in remote areas, she asked, do you have anybody that has experience working with coconut creams and coconut oils and stuff like that to make your base? Absolutely. So you could always formulate your own non-dairy ice cream base, I guess you would say. So you can use coconut creams and coconut milks and things like that. I've done it a couple times. It's really just kind of working what works best for you, but it would be probably in the CB350 about 3 quarts of coconut milk, and then probably put a couple cans or so of like the Goya coconut cream of coconut for some flavor. You can add some sugar, and then of course your fruit. It'll freeze just fine. It'll freeze well. So absolutely you can make non-dairy bases with coconut milks.
We have videos at emerythompson.com. I started working with coconut and then later oat about 4.5 years ago. And so we have the early videos up there about that product too. It works very well. You mentioned the CBD. In my mind, my personal opinion is that was a short-term fad that came and went. I have seen so many fads and so many trends so far in my lifetime that I can tell you within 6 months if it's going to be a long-term trend, like the dairy-free coconut is a big trend with the millennials, Gen Z, and Gen X. The CBD was a flash in the pan. Everybody was, and my opinions are based on phone calls. If I only get 1 call a month about gelato, I'm not really worried about it being a big thing in the United States. The CBD was huge. Every other phone call was CBD. I haven't had a CBD call this year. And the reason is they all got greedy. They were charging $25, $35 a pint for CBD, where a pint of ice cream in the supermarket is $5. Our pints, which are much better, are $10. But $25, $30 for CBD, as it became more common and you could buy it in more places. I mean, every gas station was selling CBD oil around here, that the bloom was off. The attraction was gone. Why should I pay $30 when I can just buy a bottle of CBD and do what I want with it? So it's not something I would ever invest in. Also, they made the law. It was great for us. If you're in Florida selling CBD and doing tremendously well, and you want to sell it in Georgia, you have to buy an Emery Thompson machine, set up a factory in Georgia in order to make it. They will not let you transport CBD across state lines. And I thought, boy, I saw dollar signs. I was going to sell lots of machines. It never happened. Yeah, Jeff?
Of course, there's a difference between that and THC. Now, this is going to become a law in Florida. Recreational THC or marijuana will be legal before the year is out, most likely. And in that case, we can then make the ice cream with it, which we will do. The other day, a friend whose wife goes to the legal pot stores, where you need a prescription, and he gave me a little thing of THC liquid. And I meant to bring it today, but I forgot it. But that would be an interesting experiment in the ice cream. Don't worry about the camera, it's all right. That would be an interesting experiment with the ice cream, wouldn't it?
I didn't want to go there, but that's really what I was.
Yeah, I think next class, what month is this? June? August. I think we'll give it a shot in August if he says it's okay.
No. No. I'm not going down that route with drugs. I don't care
Well,
what
we're not going down with drugs, but we're going with alcohol, so we're ready to go.
We'll do the alcohol.
Okay. Listen to us, drugs and alcohol. All right.
But as soon as it is legal, you're okay, right?
No.
Why?
I'm just not okay with drugs.
So you guys see that beautiful peach color?
That's a great color.
Once again, we use no artificial anything, no dyes, no flavorings, no colors, no any of that.
I got it.
Thank
You're
you.
blocking the camera. You have to move to the side.
She did that
I
already.
can smell the
Yeah, well, we
tequila.
want to keep doing it.
Only if I can make pot ice cream.
You can make it in your own home. The problem with doing anything with those drugs is, again, you're going to get some parents mad at you. Unless your grandparents are Sonny and Cher, which you probably never heard of. It's not going to fly with most parents. You get these old geezers who have, the expression was, if like us, we grew up in the 60s. If you remember the 60s, you weren't really there, because we don't remember any of it. Have you tasted it yet?
I have not.
Oh, I got to get a spoon.
No, you can't.
Oh, that's right. It's got tequila in it. Well, it looks beautiful.
But I can.
You can. Go for it.
And if you wanted just to make a peach Italian ice, just do the same thing. Just leave out the tequila. And especially if you're if you're in an area that have blueberry farms or patches or an apple orchard or peaches or something like that, pair up with them. If they have events, set up and do a peach at the peach festival that they might have on, or you could put up a sign made with local from Bob's Blueberry Patch. It's always great. People are always into local, giving back to community, supporting each other, the whole thing.
We talked earlier in the morning about using fresh frozen fruit, and would there be exceptions? The peach could be a wonderful exception. In South Jersey, peaches come into the most ripeness the last week of August, the first week of September. And so farm stands would have fresh peaches out there. There's nothing better. My customers would make peach Italian ice or peach ice cream and only serve it during those 2 weeks that peaches were in season. And then they'd take it off the menu. And people would scream, "Where's the peach?" Well, you don't see any out here. Peaches are out of season. Come back next year. And the customers would grumble that they wanted their peach, but guess what? They were the first people in line next year, and they were buying as much of it as they could. You can't do that with strawberry or blueberry. You have to have those year-round if you're going to have that on your menu for ice cream. But peach is a fun example of having in just when it's in season.
I haven't been able to find good peaches in the supermarket.
Frozen.
No.
Yeah, Paula just bought a bag of, we just bought a bag of fresh Georgia peaches, and I put one in the fridge and tried it. It was awful. It was absolutely terrible. I don't know when peach season is, but that thing wasn't ready.
It's time for you guys' Q&A if you want to get your chairs. Does anybody need to use the restroom before they sit down and start to do Q&A? Nope, okay.
I hope you folks have questions. I have a couple. I'm going to run to my office and get them.
Okay, I'll
Right
set
back.
up your chairs. What'd you do with the, oh,
Very refreshing.
Yeah, this is my favorite, I think.
Good flavor.
I would have put another cup of alcohol.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm actually not even picking up the alcohol,
I can
which is
taste
why I
it.
like it, I think. 'Cause I'm not-
You'd be surprised. Some people are very sensitive to alcohol and some aren't. Some it's just way too much for them, and then some it's not enough.
Yeah.
So I think whatever works best, experiment with your customers. And if you get complaints it's just too strong for them, then you know to back off. If you have the same complaints, yes. I don't know. She asked, can you do freeze-dried candy and ice cream? I don't know. It might wind up probably
Never
absorbing.
heard of freeze-dried candy.
You've never had freeze-dried candy?
Oh,
Oh, well, it's like a Skittle, but it expands and it's like a hollow and it's puffy.
Never
I think
had it.
it would probably absorb is what it would happen. Anyway, you got the chairs, Jeff?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so they're going to do Q&A, and then after that, we'll do a lunch. I'll get the other chair.
are you doing this too?
No. I quit doing it with you guys.
I know, I could tell.
It
What
was-
the hell is that?
It was pointless, especially Steve.
Especially what?
Steve. Excuse me.
What?
Well, whenever you open a store, and yes, you have a great product. Do you run do a market study, like a good location where to open?
Unnecessary.
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 Pick a community where you have a lot of children.
Yeah, you don't need any of that. You know, the simpler you keep this business, the better. Get it into your head. You sell a $5 cup of ice cream, and everybody wants it. That's all you have to think about. They'll find you. Your first customer, when you open the store on a Monday morning, the first person that walks in is your first ambassador. Make him understand what you got. He'll tell his friends. They'll come in. They're your next ambassadors. It goes like that. You know that
Hey, Jeff,
any...
tell the whole audience so that we'll do it for part of the questions answered. Go ahead and ask.
What was the question?
Oh, they all love Jeff.
Any store that you open up is going to draw its customer base from 3.5 miles. That's it. So don't think that you're going to open a store in this town and the next town's going to rush over. They won't. It's 3.5 miles on a good day because of traffic, because of gas, because of proximity. They're not going to do it. So you have to think about now, of course, any store, anywhere, if you take that map behind you, any store, you draw 3.5 miles, you got enough customers to get you set for life. That's all, and every one of them wants what you have. Just think about that. You don't have to travel to get people. They'll come to you. Quick story?
Yes, of course.
When I was growing up, we weren't wealthy by any means, and every 8 weeks or so, Dad treated the family, me and my brother and Mom and Dad, to Italian restaurant night. Oh boy, we couldn't wait. The Italian restaurant we went to was literally over the tracks. You drove to this not so good part of town. You did go over the tracks down into a dark area with a blue fluorescent light, a blue neon light on it. That's with a name I forget, Giardello's or something, Giuseppe's. And every 6 to 8 weeks, that would be our treat on a Friday night. This place was in the middle of nowhere. Nowhere. If they shut the lights, you'd never see it. But every time we went, there were lines outside. We always had to wait in line. And when you went inside, the way they did it was you stood behind people who were eating and waited for them to get done. And that's how you got your table. When you walked in the restaurant, you looked at who you thought was closer to getting done, and you just stood around their table. That's how crowded this place was. So if you think about it, did they do great marketing on picking that location? Obviously not. When you, in my course, you'll see exactly how to find your location, but it has nothing to do with population density or of course, everybody wants to open up in the shopping center with the big supermarkets, the Italian restaurant, a Hallmark store, all the things that'll bring you business, but you don't need to do that. Can't afford to do it, actually.
Oh yeah, the smaller the better. We're doing 900 square feet stores now because my average customer was about 55 years old 10 years ago. Now my average customer is 28.
And think about it.
What is the area that you mentioned?
Sorry?
Not, how many square feet?
900, sometimes 700.
And
because rent is still $2,000-$3,000. It's
Yeah, but not in those areas next to the projects. You'll get a nice store there for much less. It's
Your store was in the villages.
outside the villages.
Yeah, in a very wealthy neighborhood.
On a one-lane road where outside you can't see the lights at night.
Still,
It's a dark country one-lane road. And when I found it, I didn't care. Actually, the story was,
go out? Okay, sorry.
when I was looking to open up my first store, it was a Sunday afternoon. And I drove around looking for lease signs. And I saw one at a used store place, you know, where you pull up the door and you put your furniture in there and self-storage place. And I said, well, that'll be fine. You know, what the hell? And luckily, or whatever, they were closed. It was Sunday. Nobody was there. On the way back, I'm on this one-lane road heading back to the villages where I live. And I look over and I see a little sign on the lawn. It says space for lease. And it's a gym. It's a gym with, you know, the rowing machines, the bicycles, the sweat smell. And I pulled in and it was 3 bays and all 3 were a gym. And I called the number up and the guy said, I'll be right there. I own the building. I said, okay, his name is George. And he met me there, and I said, what kind of space you have? He goes, come on in, it's in the back room of the gym. I said, all right. So we walk in, we walk through the sweaty, smelly gym with music playing and people doing weights on a Sunday. It was crowded. And we go to the back, and there's a room, and he unlocks it, and it's 5 feet by 7 feet. I'm sorry, 8 feet by 7 feet, 56 square feet, with a little sink, like a dental sink, and that's it. And I said, how much? He said, 400. I said, I'll take it. And so the next day, I moved my small machine in there. I bought a table like this, and that was it. And that was the beginning. After I made ice cream, one day there was a knock on the door in the gym. And I opened the door, and there's a guy there, and he says, I hear you sell ice cream. I said, yeah. He said, what flavor you got? I had one flavor. I said, coconut. He said, how much? I said, $2. He said, I'll take one. So by the sink there, the sink was about, 9 inches. There was a thing of those Dixie cups, the sink cups. And I took one, I filled it with ice cream, put a spoon in it, I handed it to the guy, and he gave me $2. I put it in my pocket. I didn't think anything about it. It was my first customer. 15 minutes later, I opened the door, and there's 4 people there, a family, 2 little kids, mom and dad. And he said, we heard you sell good ice cream. I said, yeah. He said, what do you got? I said, coconut. He said, how much? I said, $4. So he said, we'll take 4. It's true. So he gave me the money, I put it in my pocket, and then later, after he left, I took it out and I looked at it, and I saw the money that they paid me for this ice cream. And then I knew. Then I knew all my dreams were going to come true. And this is in the back room of a gym. The back room of a gym on a 1-lane road that you can't see the building at night because there's no street lights. So don't worry about it. Any other questions?
That's it? Nobody?
This really is a very simple business. You make the ice cream, and I'll make sure you make the best ice cream in the world. So you make the ice cream, you sell the ice cream, and you go to the bank and do what you do with your money. Hopefully you'll save it. And that's it. And I can almost, if I could guarantee it, I would guarantee it, that if you follow my formula for this whole business, which includes scouting out a location, finding a location, setting it up, dealing with landlords, dealing with plumbers, it's all there. If you follow this, a year from the day you start your search, you'll be well over $500,000. It's a no-brainer. Steve has invented the machine that is a no-brainer. Talk about simplicity. Now, he doesn't pay me to do this. God, he doesn't even buy my stuff. His machine is, you see how simple it is. You pour the ingredients in, you turn it on, and out comes money. It's ridiculous. This whole business is a myth that people have created to make it complicated. It's very simple.
Over the years, I've been thinking what type of business to open, a restaurant, coffee shop, and all that. My conclusion was probably the one with the lowest overhead cost is ice cream.
Ice cream. 65% profit. Can you stand that? You sell an ice cream for $5. Who's good in math? What's your profit? $3? Silly. It's silly.
If you could see the emails that we get, both Jeff and I and Christy, day in and day out about people who were sitting here or saw our videos. Most people have never been to Brooksville. They've never met me. They've seen our over 620 videos and decided to go into business, and we help you from soup to nuts, get you into the business. And how amazed they are, how successful they are, and how well off their families are because of this product.
You know where the problem comes in? Here's where the problem comes in. Is there a roadblock? Yes, here it is. You're going to open your store. You're going to start to make money like you never thought before. More importantly, you're going to be having fun, which is, God, you have fun in your business? Not like this, you don't. This is fun. The problem is going to be, after 9 months, the money's rolling in, you got it nailed, how you make your ice cream, everything's working. The problem is, let's expand. That's the problem. Because that takes a little bit of what? Takes a little bit of finesse to know how to expand your business. And in 9 months, you're going to be thinking, wow, I'm making $700,000 here in 3/4 of a year. I could do it over there in 3 towns. And you can. Just got to do it smart. Yes?
Okay, during the wholesale, just say the wholesale, the products, the containers that they actually have the ice cream in, is there only one company that deals with the containers itself?
The what? The containers?
She's asking about the containers that you put the ice cream in. No, there's hundreds of companies.
Oh, the one that I use, with all these containers up here, you mean?
Not the plastic ones, the brown ones itself.
Oh, I don't do that. I don't believe in that. My belief is in 1 gallon containers.
No, 3-gallon containers.
Why? So you can put them in a dipping cabinet?
No, actually, yes, and for wholesale purposes.
If you go to emerythompson.com, you'll find about 6 companies that manufacture these. Right there. You deal direct with the manufacturer. They're inexpensive. That's a gelato pan insert. It was never intended to be used by itself. It's meant to go into a gelato stainless steel pan. I use these a lot because they're inexpensive. If you're wholesaling to a restaurant, they're throwaway. But the important thing is, as rents went up, as the cost of a store went up, the only way the owner could make more money was to add more tables. So the way he adds more tables is shrink the kitchen. So now the chef, the executive chef, doesn't have as much freezer space. So Haagen-Dazs comes in and offers up, we can deliver 10 of these once every 2 weeks. And the executive chef says, wow, where am I going to put 10 tubs? And how do I know 7 days from now what flavors I want to feature, let alone only having 10 tubs? I'm stuck with it. By using these, Jeff is using what, quart containers?
Gallon.
Gallon containers. Okay, so this is 6 quarts. This is a gallon and a half. But in a freezer in that chef's kitchen, I can take 2 of these this way, and then 2 more on top, and 2 more on top, and I'm only going to be slightly larger than 1 tub. So I could have 6 flavors there for every one of these. So it's a matter of practicality for the restaurant. The restaurateur is not going to return these to you. They are not going to wash them, because no matter how much they wash them, there's always a risk that cockroaches might attract cockroaches, and they don't want the health department problems. This, they're going to use once, and they're going to throw it in the dumpster. So that's how you do wholesale, is with this. This is at our website. It's very simple. It's called gelatosupply.com. And the funny thing is, they sell batch freezers. They sell an Italian batch freezer. But if you go to order these, you use the words Emery Thompson, and you'll get a 10% discount. So they're actually selling batch freezers for me, though they don't know it. But it's not a better product than Jeff's. It's not better than this. It's not, his product isn't, this isn't better than anybody else's. It's just different. It meets the needs of someone wanting to do wholesale. So there's no problem. It's all at our website, and it's also all in Jeff's book. He has all sorts of ideas of where you're going to get what you need. And we'll help you. We're here to help you.
So the brown containers, there's no one, I mean, I know it's around brown or the white containers. Is there a company?
There's 6 companies.
No, they don't sell those. I don't
The
think
cardboard, yes. There's about 4 companies that sell cardboard. But you're in the Caribbean, right?
Yes.
It's going to be way too expensive for you to use cardboard because you use it once and throw it away.
Yes.
You're going to be shipping every month cardboard. I can use these for about a year. I can use Jeff's for about 3 years.
No, but if she ships them,
Where
they're
can
not
you
re-
get it? Go to emerythompson.com. Go to emerythompson.com, and this particular one says it was made by Pro Western. Go to emerythompson.com, and it'll say the company under suppliers, Pro Western. You call them up and you order them.
I mean the cardboard ones. What company? Where can I find that?
There's 2 companies. I don't know their names, but they're at our website. But I'm telling you, they're going to cost 3/4 of the cost of this,
Okay.
and you're going to throw them away after one use. You can't afford them. You're too far away. If they were made in Florida and you were Jeff's Ice Cream Parlor, sure, you could use them if you had a wholesale business. Yes?
So your model on the far right, does that plug right into the wall, or do I need an electrician to come in?
No, that plugs right into the wall. That's 110 current.
And then the middle model?
Is a 220 volt, like hooking up your oven. You'll have an electrician run a line for. But it's twice the production in less time, and it's the first model, and then up from there that has the infinite overrun control. The first one is one speed for super premium, gelato, and Italian ice.
And you would change it yourself for a different electric outlet for another country, right?
Yes, we build them to the country that they're going to. So we're in 141 countries. We eliminated a few countries over the years. One of which is North Korea. We've eliminated. I don't sell to China. There's a few, but there's very few. There's 141 that we do. Yes, sir.
The 220 volts. You say you already have one that comes in 220.
Yeah, everything from the CB3 forward is larger, is 220 volt.
Okay, and that's the second. That's like $7,000.
I can't say prices on these videos because these videos will be out there for 20 years. The smallest one is 110. Everything else is 220 volt. But they're all American voltage. You can run it in your living room. Yes, sir.
You have single phase and three phase?
We do, but I do not recommend three phase to anyone. Power used to be stronger 20 years ago. Since then, compressors and motors have all changed and beefed up because the power companies are no longer putting in three phase. They're not building any. You can get it, but instead of $5,000, it's $110,000. You'll never recoup the loss because they don't want you to buy three phase power because you're the only guy on the street using it. If there's a laundromat, maybe he's using it, a dry cleaner. But otherwise, it doesn't pay them. And since they're not building any more power plants, it's just not worth it. Everything, the Italians and the Chinese and the Mexicans are all three-phase power because that's what they use in their countries. North America is single-phase power, and it means that if you want to sell that CB350 after 2 years because your volume is so big, anybody in the United States can buy that machine. If it's three-phase, only another three-phase store. So we don't recommend it. Yes?
You mentioned the ease of like cleaning. Is there any common troubleshooting or spots like gaskets, anything like that that would be handy to know? Specifically on the 4 unit.
Yeah, I can just grab that dasher again and I'll show you. It couldn't be more simple. Once every 5 years, my competition is 90 days or 6 months. Once every 5 years, you replace these two blades. 5 years. And you say you don't even have to. Probably not.
Mine's going on 15.
The springs we like to do once a year. Very inexpensive. And a couple of O-rings, and that's it. Okay. And it's you're taking this apart every day anyway. And so all you do is buy a new set of springs from us and put them on, and you're finished.
And that literally is all, because I have
That's it.
Used to a Taylor soft serve. And
Nightmare.
It's a nightmare cleaning. I hate it.
And it's not.
All the gaskets and the tools. And
Absolutely.
It literally is just that beater.
It's not, it's just this. It's not Taylor. It's every soft ice cream machine.
Yeah.
The nature of the beast is it's complicated. A yacht is far more complicated to operate than my little Boston Whaler. It's got a little engine sitting on the back of it. So all soft serve machines, Electrofreeze, Stolting, Cappigiani, they're all very complex by their nature. Batch freezers, if you want to look at another batch freezer, it's also going to be very uncomplicated because all batch freezers are based on our patents. The patents have worn out, but all these designs came from Emery Thompson. It was my grandfather. Yes, anyone else before lunch?
If you
Yes.
have the
Go.
business and customers, what are the average hours that you usually work these machines
What is what?
on a daily basis or every other day? Or
What are we talking about?
How often you're going to make ice cream, right?
Machine working.
You can work
Hopefully, hopefully every day.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the next 40 years is what
When
you
I-
can do.
when I
It makes
started-
ice cream pretty quick and
When
8
I
minutes.
when I started, the small machine, the 6-quart is what I had, and I would make ice cream. Now, remember, you just opened your doors. When I started, I would make ice cream maybe 3 times a week. for about 4 to 5 hours each time. So I did it, either in the morning before I opened or on my day off or whatever. In 8 months, I knew I needed a bigger machine because I was making ice cream more and more, which is a good thing, right? So in 9 months, I called my friend Steve and I said, I need a bigger machine. So I bought the 24 quart. And then I was making ice cream. That cut it in half. So now instead of 4 days a week, I'm making ice cream twice a week. Same 5 hours, but I'm doubling my capacity or quadrupling my capacity. I'm quadrupling my capacity. Now, that is still the machine that we use, the 24 quart, but we make ice cream a little more often now.
The Italian Ice people run 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, from May 1st until Columbus Day in October. And then they shut down for the winter. So what is the average running time of that? It's either 24 hours a day or it's 12 hours all year round. In other words, the machine can run nonstop. It's not going to wear out. That's not we hand make these. There is not another machine in the world like this. That's why we're the largest. Yes?
Jeff, I got a question for you about how many tubs of ice cream do you make in a week, typically?
How many people are coming in the door? I would say on average you're going to make 300 gallons a week. And she raised her eyebrows, don't think of making 300 gallons a week. Think of 10 servings per gallon, $6 per serving, times 300 gallons. Not bad.
And you make yours in the gallon tubs? Or?
1 gallon, yes. And I use chest freezers to this day.
Can I ask how you stack them? Because we use the, what are they, the 5 gallon? 3 gallon? The 3 gallon. And a lot of times we're scooping so fast that when we pull the next one up, it's not had enough time to thaw. Yeah, to get to that temperature in the serving cabinet.
When the girls come in, let's say you open at 1 o'clock. The girls generally get there at 12 o'clock. And what they do, certain ice creams are harder than others, obviously. You take a rock hard chocolate ice cream, you're going to break your arm trying to scoop it. But you take one of the adult flavors, no problem. So what they do, they've come to know which flavors are harder than others. When they go in at 12 o'clock, they go to the freezer, they pull out the hard ones, and they let them temper on the table. Maybe there'll be 30 of them on the table. And then they're taking the chairs down, they're getting the store ready, they're putting the open sign, putting the music on, and when they're done, they put those back in, they're ready to roll. Now, the way we have it set up in the store, we have the counter, and then the serving is behind the counter, and right behind us are 3 of those. One of them is just adult flavors, the other 2 are regular flavors. Then behind the wall, not behind the wall, but further back against the wall are the balance of those to refill the ones by the counter. When you have 1,200 customers a day, now that's a rarity, but let's say you're going to do 900 customers in a day. That means that you have to have the tempered ice cream, backup for it, and then if we ever have to go to the hard freezers that aren't in the kitchen, we can't sell those because the girls will break their arm trying to scoop them. So we've got, let's say 5, 10, we've got 10 gallons of each flavor ready to scoop, ready to go. After that, we pull the sign and wait till tomorrow. We do have 30 flavors on the signs, so there's enough to choose from. Sorry.
You're just balancing your temperatures, and it's very easy to do. We are a weather-dependent business. The exception is Seattle, which I can't figure out. It's always raining there. It makes no sense. But I always tell people, if it's in the wintertime and you go into Jeff's, he's in Florida. If you go to an ice cream parlor in the north and it's lightly snowing, you'll walk to your car eating an ice cream cone. If it's raining, you'll run to your car. And if it's raining, you won't even buy ice cream. rain kills ice cream sales. So what you do is on a Thursday night is you start looking at what the weather's going to be for the weekend, and you start planning tentatively where you're going to position your ice cream. If Saturday morning a monsoon has moved in and it's going to rain all weekend, well, don't move as much ice cream over to the serving temperature. Leave it back in a colder temperature. Or if the sun breaks out at 2 in the afternoon on Saturday and it's going to be a gorgeous Sunday, quickly move ice cream to a warmer temperature. That's all you're doing, is trying to get it up to that 6 degrees.
Now, we're all, except for 2 of you, we're all reasonably intelligent here.
Who are the
Now,
two are?
I don't want to go there. Now, if you wanted to take his statement and erase that for your store and not be weather dependent, so a rainy day doesn't affect you, what would you do? I'll tell you what you would do if you listen to me. You have a few TVs in your ice cream store. You have board games. You have those checkerboards, chessboards on each table. And you make it with music playing all the time. And you make it a place to, what I want, hang out. I want my stores to be a hangout. I want, when it's raining out, people got nothing to do, hey, let's go over to Mystic. Let's go over to Cherry Hill Ice Cream and hang out.
Your average customer is 87 years old.
In Daytona Beach, my average customer is 18.
Not in Daytona Beach, but in
Daytona is really where we're making money now.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
On that note, are you still running coffee, still offering coffee?
Absolutely.
What percentage of your business is coffee?
Maybe 8.
That's it?
Yeah.
Are you open in the mornings for coffee, or?
No, no. I thought about that, but see, here's the thing. You know how religious people say you can't serve 2 masters? Well, our master is ice cream. And what you all don't understand yet is that that's enough. That's enough. Everybody looks, when I opened up, I did the same thing. I had a lady come to me and she says, you know, I make the best fudge in the world. You ought to try it. It would be great here. I said, all right, bring it in. So she brought me in the fudge. I went and bought the little bags. I bought a scale. I bought the cake dome, the glass top with the samples in it, and nobody bought it. And the same thing happened with the nuts that go around in a circle in the cone things. They're delicious. And I had the thing to make it there. Nobody bought it. I put cake out. I put cookie, nothing. Nobody bought it. Because, and my fault, I want to be known as the ice cream place. That's what I want. I want to be a hangout, and we sell ice cream. Coffee, if you can't have ice cream, you can always have a cappuccino. And that's good. It adds to the hangoutness of the place. Music, constantly. There isn't a minute, there isn't a second without music on. And unfortunately, it's music I like, but it's music.
It's good music.
Yeah. And at nights, 2 nights a week karaoke, 1 night a week trivia, 1 night a week name that tune. It's a hangout. And you know, when we have karaoke, people come with their discs because they play them when they're up on the stage. I don't care if they don't eat 1 ice cream. I don't care if they eat 1 and they're there 4 hours. I don't care. I'm the place to go. And it pays off. Believe me, it pays off.
Are you doing all this in Daytona?
Yeah.
Okay.
Steve, just your perspective on that too. Ice cream customers who have other revenue streams in shop. Successful, not successful, are there certain ones you've seen that have been, you know, out of the box thinking that kind of pay off for them, or is it just stay on ice cream?
Absolutely not successful. There is an exception to everything. I can say that nobody sells gelato, but there's Il Laboratorio in Manhattan that's killing it. There's another one in New Orleans. There's one in San Francisco. There's always an exception to the rule. But generally, I'm a manufacturer of ice cream machines. A lot of my competition has gone into deep fat fryers and ovens and things like that.
Smells great.
It has nothing to do. I mean, when someone tells me that the winter is slow, so they're going to put in hot dogs, I tell them, call me in February when your machine is for sale, and I'll consider buying it back at pennies on the dollar because you're going to go bankrupt. Because ice cream, just to use that little analogy, absorbs odors in the air. So all of a sudden, within 2 days, all your ice cream tastes like hot dogs. What does a hot dog have to do with ice cream? I like the music. I think that's a great idea. I hadn't thought of that. And with my propensity towards acid rock, it's going to be wonderful. So I like that idea. But and Jeff's business has always been extremely unique. But in the average, you stick to the business you're in. You're in the frozen dessert business. So don't sell lollipops. Don't sell candy. I have a lot of chocolate companies that started off making chocolate and also sell ice cream. But most of it is pints, because you buy chocolate. You don't sit down and eat chocolate in the chocolateria. You buy a pound of chocolate, marzipan, and you take it home. You buy a couple of pints, you take it home. That has synergy together. But stick to what you do best. I don't build anything but batch freezers. We are going to continue expanding. I sell a hardening cabinet now. We'll be selling dipping cabinets. We'll be selling things that are complementary to the frozen dessert business, but still within the realm of frozen dessert
Remember
business.
when we said everybody in the world likes ice cream? Can you say that about hot dogs? Can you say that about chocolate? Can you say that about women's dresses? No.
No.
It's ice cream. And if everybody in the world, just think of this when you open your store, every person you see, every person you meet, every person on the phone, every person wants what you have. Hot dogs? I don't think so.
So you want to be the guy in town who's known for the ice cream. Let's go to that ice cream place, no matter whatever you call it. Let's go to the ice cream
One that I
place.
was considering is coffee.
Coffee is interesting. I think your labor force is a big problem. You can't get labor, and labor is very expensive. And at 8%, that labor is not paying off well for me in that store. However, if I had a coffee shop, I'd sure want to sell pints of ice cream and half pints, because I want to sell those half pints to people working in cubicles in an office building who don't have time to go get lunch, but they're going to run down and grab a latte and a half pint of ice cream, and we're all going to be jealous that Frankie over there's got a half pint of ice cream. If Frankie bought a pint of ice cream, no matter what he looks like, he's a glutton. Look at him, he's eating a whole pint of ice cream. But if it's a half pint, we're really jealous, and we're getting $6 for that half pint. So
packaging on the half pints, how do you, a hopper that would fill those?
you can fill them on the machine by just slowing down the speed.
Okay.
And you still have to be quick, but by slowing down the speed, it's going to come out slower. When that business turns into a gigantic business, then you're going to go to a company called Sawville Automation, SAWVEL, and talk to Steve over there. And they have a machine that has a filler and a pressurized pump. You pour our ice cream into it with the nuts, with the cookies, and you push a pump and it fills a pint. Put another one in, fill it, fill it, fill it. Really fast. Capojani came out with a so-called filler door about 12 years ago. It failed miserably, so they brought it back again 3 years ago. It's about a $3,500 door, saying you can fill them there. They don't slow down the speed like we do. So their first pints weigh one amount of weight. The last pints weigh lighter because it's blowing up. There's more room in there. So it doesn't work. Our system works. And our system, we didn't know we had that built into it until Christy one day figured it out. And all of a sudden, she's tapping the speed down from 234 down to 130 and filling pints. We go, whoa, we didn't know we could do that. So we didn't even have to invent it. It was already there. Christy invented it.
Sure.
Okay, ready?
Let's have lunch.
Okay, so the next thing I'm going to make is Frankenstein. The name is a little interesting. When you start making ice cream, you're going to tend to go overboard. You're going to tend to put stuff in and make everything complex and crazy. And just remember, the best ones are the least ingredients, the fewest ingredients. With that being said, many, many, many years ago, probably 15, certainly in my first year, I was making ice cream, and at the end of the day, I had leftovers of the ingredients. I made Snickers that day. I had some Snickers left over. I had Oreos left over. I had stuff left over. So I took the chocolate mix and I threw everything into it, and I called it Frankenstein. Now, you'll find the recipe for Frankenstein in either the books or the kits that you have, but Frankenstein really is up to you. You can put anything you want in it. Today, we're going to put,
hear you, Savannah.
I think I brought, let's see. Yep. We'll throw some Oreos in there. Can't be bad. We'll put some chocolate chips in. And then I thought we'll make a swirl. So you get to see how to make a variegate swirl in the ice creams. You can do that with any ice cream, but we'll do it with Frankenstein today. You don't have to, but we will today. Why not? So first thing we're going to add is how many quarts? 6. Good. Your lunch must have woken you up. So we'll do 6. I thought I had, oh, that's right. Six. How much do they weigh?
No, how much are cost-wise?
Oh, cost-wise? Well, here's an interesting thing. When I think I just said this before. When I first started, they were $23 for a box of 2. Now they're probably $65 for a box of 2. Remember? Okay. All right, so we'll start with this. And you'll notice that we're not going to extrude it into the 1-gallon containers. You'll see why. Because we're making a variegate. So we'll put the 6 quarts in here. Almost in here. And we're going to add some of this, some of this. Okay. We'll fire it up. We'll add chocolate chips. Food of the gods, right? By the way, when you buy chocolate chips, are you going to buy Nestle's Toll House chips, or are you going to buy Schmessle's Mole House chips? Come on, you're making enough money, right? Buy the good stuff. Almost all of them. Oh, we have some left over. And we'll add some Oreos. You ever notice now how they make these things with, like, unbelievable. Not to them, it's not. To those girls, it's totally normal. You're going to buy Oreos or Schmorios? It finally got through to Steve to buy the good stuff. Okay, so we'll add a couple now, but we'll add them mainly halfway through so that the pieces maintain some integrity. Right now, they'll probably all dissolve up, but we'll get the flavor in there. Mine doesn't.
What is the strainer for?
Legal, so you don't stick your fingers in there.
Okay.
You'll take it off also. Same thing with this. You'll take that off too. Oh, I shouldn't say that. I was kidding. What?
Machine crush those up.
Okay, we don't have to taste it because what's in there? Chocolate. Should we add some vanilla and spend his money? Yeah. Sure, why not? He doesn't pay for this. Now, while this is cooking, we're going to make the variegate. To make the variegate, all you want is something thick enough that you can make a swirl in the ice cream, but it has to be complementary to the ice cream as far as the flavor goes. And the color, I guess. So first we'll put a little of this in here. Hershey's Special Dark. It's not Hershey's Special Dark. It's much better. Oh boy, good stuff. So we'll add a little bit of that. And then we'll add some of the chocolate powder. I know, I didn't see it. I didn't see it till after.
Oh, that's okay.
So we can thicken it up a little. Powder doesn't dissolve so quickly.
No. Well, while you talk about that, or while you do that, I'll do a quick little. So Forbes makes two different types. They have a whole variety of chocolates. In your packet, there is a list, a contact to get in touch with them. So what we use here is 287 and 289. I prefer 287 because it's a sweetened vanilla chocolate. 289, it is a flavored chocolate. It's also very good. It's a little on the darker side, but 287 or 289, you definitely can't go wrong. So the contact is Cherish Matthews. She's an absolute sweetheart. You'll have to tell her we sent you. But the thing about with also chocolate powders is if you add too much, your ice cream, once it's frozen and you're ready to scoop it, it's going to start flaking. It's something with the powder. I'm not a scientist. I can't explain it. But if you think, oh, let me add more chocolate powder, it'll be more chocolatey. Hold up, can't do that because then you're going to wind up like flaking ice cream. It's not even going to scoop like when you go to and does that perfect swirl. Okay, back to Jeff.
All right, we're almost there. The consistency, you'll have to figure it out. It's like thick gravy is what you want. And as soon as we use it, you'll see where it has to be. So we'll do this.
You want to whisk?
I don't think it'll help.
It's normally what I use.
Normally I use the Giardelli powder and it's done already. Okay. We're there. We're there, no problem. Here's what we want. Got it? Like thick gravy, right? And we're going to pull the ice cream a little firmer than normal to make doing this easier. You'll see, it'll all become very clear. Any questions? No questions? Let's add the rest of these.
don't try that with any other batch freezer. It won't go in. The opening, once you lift up that lid, it may look large on their machines, but it's only about less than a half an inch wide. They do that because their dashers, their beaters, are not strong enough to take putting in whole nuts, cookies, candies, bananas. So they make the opening very small so that you can't do it. You have to add everything as it comes out. But what Jeff is getting is he's getting the flavor that he wants in the machine. Every particle of dairy, there's a particle of flavor next to it. And if he wants to add anything on the outside for crunch, he can still do that.
Now, could you eat this? Oh yeah, I
Big
could.
glass of milk.
Yeah. Actually, forget the milk. Yeah, this is good. Now this is going to go in the ice cream. And you'll see, we'll get a nice swirl through it. And when your customer eats the ice cream, they'll get some Frankenstein, some swirl. It's a beautiful thing. Any other questions? So what could you add? Give me some examples. What could you add to this ice cream? What? Heath bar? Yes and no. Don't forget, many of your ice creams have Heath bar pieces in them. So you don't want to compete really. And Heath bar is toffee. Using Heath bar? Yes. Heath bar is toffee chips. So let's continue with the chocolate theme. What could you add? What? What? Almonds? I guess. What? Chips Ahoy? Sure, why not? Brownies?
Jeff,
Yeah.
I'm with the lady over there. What about peanut butter? That goes very well with chocolate.
How about marshmallows?
First of all, let's talk about marshmallows. Let's get over peanut butter first. Peanut butter is a very, very distinct flavor. And in the Frankenstein, I don't want anything competing with the Frankenstein, with the chocolate. I want something complementing the chocolate. So I would hold off on peanut butter. Now, I do make several ice creams with peanut butter. I make a great peanut butter and jelly ice cream, which is a great peanut butter ice cream with a jelly swirl running through it. Huh? How about, oh, what was the other thing? Marshmallow. Marshmallow. Personally, I would avoid it like the plague, because to use marshmallows in ice cream, it's going to gum everything up. And I like to think of everything risk-reward. Now, marshmallows aren't all that flavorful. You would really use them for a little flavor, but a lot of gooey texture in there. What I would do is not put the marshmallows in the machine, but I would make a s'mores ice cream, which we do, and the recipe, you'll have it. In s'mores ice cream, I take the ice cream and then make a variegate with the marshmallow fluff. You know what fluff is, right? It's liquid marshmallow almost. Make a variegate with that and then swirl that into the ice cream. So you're not gunking up the machine, but you're still getting that oozy goozy in the ice cream. What? What?
We're getting close.
Really?
Yeah.
I talk too much.
That's what we pay you for.
Oy.
Yeah, I can take that to the bank. All right.
Told you.
You're out the refrigeration.
Okay, we're going to line up the containers. You'll see why. What is with these things today? I want you to be able to see this, so let's put these over here. Okay. We'll pull the ice cream. It's a little thicker than normal, than I normally have it. See how thick it is?
Don't mind if I do. Oh, I was gonna get it as it comes out.
You heard that buzzer go off? That was an overload alarm, meaning that the machine was getting to the point where it was so thick in there that it was going to shut itself down.
Okay,
Remember that internal clock I had going on there?
okay. Now we're going to take this and we're going to pour it on the top. Then we'll take the spatula, and usually 4 turns is good. 1, 2, 3, 4. And because we have these great squishy buckets, we'll take this and we'll squeeze it, and you'll see that we're getting a variegate in there. Is that your phone, Steve?
Yeah, Jeff.
Yeah, let them know I'm here.
I will. It's the bank. They're repoing your car.
And you can see that when you scoop it, they're going to get the ice cream and the fudge swirl.
Thank you. Definitely is a good flavor. I know that.
That's pretty to look at.
It is.
Yeah, can you talk about peanut butter?
What?
Same kind of concept when you use peanut butter?
Yeah.
Peanut butter, different beast.
Yeah, I use a little of the mix. I use some powder, chocolate powder, and peanut butter. Mix it up.
Peanut butter sauce or real peanut butter you can melt down? Or how do you get the...
You buy a jar of Skippy and you open it up.
It's not going to pour out. Pour upside down. It'll pour out.
Same with the Nutella. Get it out. I use the nutty in the peanut butter swirl. Crunchy.
The peanut butter you can always warm up in the microwave and pour it out that way. I like to use the mom thing a lot. Don't like dirty dishes, so microwave, or I've gotten really good at scooping it and then 1, 2, 3 plop and it shoots right down to the machine.
My growing up with peanut butter twist. It had like the peanut butter, like, what do you call it?
Variegate.
Peanut butter what?
Variegate.
Variegate, swirl through everything.
Yeah.
I just don't see it that often anymore. I'm thinking, okay.
Yeah, they make it in a jar now, but we make it in ice cream. Pretty cool. And it's peanut butter and jelly. So I just take the jelly and I add a little mix, little powder, get it nice and thick just like this, and then do the same thing in the peanut butter ice cream.
Oops. And
Works pretty good.
The marshmallows, I'm kind of like him, avoid it like the plague if you can, but marshmallows themselves disintegrate in the machine. They don't freeze either, which is odd, but I buy the fluff and I microwave that and get it a little warm, and I do a variegate with that, like chocolate marshmallow. That works really well. I hate working with it.
Is the fluff that sticky stuff that comes in the jar?
Yes, marshmallow fluff is the sticky stuff that comes in a jar. Look at, I am just making a mess. All right. Bless you. The hardest part, and you've heard me say it in videos before, is not licking your fingers. Okay. Oh my gosh. I am not winning today at all. It's too quiet. Well, Michaela always gets the first cup, so you guys...
It's quiet because they're licking their lips.
It's very, very good.
Good. I gotta try a taste. Got a nice swirl to it.
It does.
Fantastic.
I'm gonna make one more, just in case I didn't count right.
Do we need to rinse the machine?
No, well, he does, yeah. That one's Jeff's, yes.
Yum. So
What is
Jeff,
it?
what's your personal favorite?
That's our last
Ice cream?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would say coconut.
Coconut.
Yeah, make a great coconut.
Starter, you do orange
Yep,
ice cream.
yep, the original.
Thanks.
I think there's still a little more in there. I'll pull it out.
Okay. Well, you keep up.
That's right, I'll pull it out.
There we go.
I don't think there's much in. Oh, that's right. You got to rinse it for coffee.
Yeah. I'll start getting some hot water ready.
Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting.
Folks, one little trick to making ice cream. You can all hear me. Buy a spaghetti strainer and put this in your sink. You'll be happy that you did. Because even though we get almost everything out of the machine, you're always going to have a few pieces of something that over time, over a week or a month, if that went down your drain, it's going to clog your drain up. But if you put this spaghetti strainer in your sink and then just take all your rinse water, I'm going to rinse this machine out now because we're going to coffee. You pour everything through the strainer, it doesn't go down the drain. And if you haven't hired a plumber yet, they're not $60 anymore. They're in the hundreds, and they come and they tell you that we can see you the first week in September. So for the cost of a spaghetti strainer, you could save a lot of time and effort and aggravation. I just clogged up my drain at home, and boy, did I get in trouble for that one because he found out what was clogging it up. It was 2 popsicle sticks. And I'm the only one in the family who eats popsicle sticks. So, right down the garbage disposal they went and then didn't go any further.
Did anybody get any Oreo pieces in it? Okay. And of course, chocolate chips.
All right, so I'm rinsing out, and I've got very, very warm water. It's not so hot that you'd want to take a shower in it, but it's also not so hot that it would burn you pulling back. And I just realized I was going to say next, and since I'm not putting not putting my hands into the machine, I don't have to re-sanitize. I just realized I just checked the temperature of the water. Guess what? I just would have contaminated the machine. So I got to throw this out in this bucket because I don't want to contaminate the machine and start over.
Are you using any like sterilizing tablets?
No, because it's sterilized
Okay,
from
sorry.
the
Thanks.
very start. We had a note on here this morning that we had sanitized it. As long as you don't open up and as long as you don't take a 2-hour lunch, that machine is going to stay so cold that you won't have to worry about anything. I'm a coffee snob. I absolutely love coffee. I buy all sorts of fancy coffees, grind my own beans. I don't roast my own. There's people who can do that better. And this is probably the worst product on earth for a cup of coffee, Taster's Choice. I mean, if you're on a desert island and the water was sewer water and this is all you had to make coffee, I still wouldn't drink it. It's just awful. But it makes the best coffee ice cream on earth. They're freeze-dried crystals. They dissolve 90%, 95%. They're great. Every once in a while you get a little crunch. It's a Taster's Choice crystal. And this may sound stupid until you do it, but be careful pouring it in because there's always a 35-cent off coupon in here. And putting it into the machine does not add to the flavor whatsoever. When we make this stuff's so strong it'll put hair on your spleen. So my sister moves down here from Chicago, and I said, don't touch my ice cream. If you want ice cream, ask. and nobody listens to me. So I call her up, or so she comes in, and I don't see her for 2 days. And finally I see her. She's got bags under her eyes, and she looks horrible. I said, what the hell happened to you? She said, I took home some of your coffee ice cream. I've been up for 3 days. So I couldn't change my sister. We're not going to do it today, but I couldn't change my sister. So if you buy the green label, it's decaf. Works just as well, but now you've got a decaf ice cream, so you can eat it at 11 o'clock at night, and it's not going to keep you up for 3 days. This will. So if you're driving home this afternoon and you're, like this, thank us for it, because there's no sense drinking coffee unless it's strong. Oh, and with coffee ice cream, it's only going to sell to coffee drinkers. If you're a tea drinker, you're not going to buy coffee ice cream. But coffee people love strong coffee. I drink something called Death Wish. It's considered to be the strongest coffee on earth, and it's just great. It makes me what I am. So we're trying to make a strong, flavorful coffee ice cream, just like every flavor we do. We don't want to hand you a pale pink ice cream and you say, that's delicious, what is it? Then the three of us have just failed. You don't know it's red raspberry instead of strawberry. So this coffee is going to be great.
So this is a traditional dairy bladder. It's not chocolate. This, like Jeff said, comes just like the chocolate one, except this is what they call a vanilla. It does not taste like a vanilla. If you were to taste it, it tastes more like a sweet cream. So if you wanted to make a vanilla ice cream, vanilla extract is definitely needed. Now your recipe says 12 quarts of mix. This is only 10 quarts. This is a bladder. So majority of ice cream makers just dump a bladder and be done with it. But if you want to use it to its full capability, open up another bladder and you can pour 2 more quarts in if you want. All right, $5 says I don't spill a drop. We ready?
The Italian ice people run it as a 12-quart, 24-quart machine finished capacity, because they're not measuring out from a bag. They're measuring out water at the sink and adding sugar. So they're getting the maximum performance out of the machine. So bottom line, your yield can either be out of this machine 20 quarts finished or 24 quarts finished, whichever way you want. All the recipes you're ever going to see for ice cream are going to be based on 20 quarts finished, because all those recipes came from us.
All right, you all owe me $5.
Not a drop.
Not a drop.
Yes.
Can the bladders be frozen?
Yes.
Absolutely.
We have frozen bladders in there. Some of the bodies are buried out back. But yes, you can freeze the bladders. Because What?
How long will they last if you freeze them?
Months.
Years.
Not years. We only do this class every other month, so we buy a stockpile of dairy mix and freeze it. Freezes very nicely. It takes about 3 days to get it to thaw. You take it out of there and put it in your refrigerator. It'll be 3 days. So you got a 3-day lag there. If you have so much as one ice crystal in your thawed dairy, it won't dissolve. It'll go right through to the ice cream. So you don't want ice crystals in your ice cream.
So we already got this started. The instant coffee is going to do exactly what it's designed to do. It's going to dissolve into the machine. It's going to come out a beautiful brown coffee flavor. Now for our toffee bits, I'm going to wait until it's probably about 4 or 5 minutes in before I add these, because I want to help keep these little bits suspended. You can do that with just about anything as far as inclusion wise when you want to work with chips. Little bits like this, if you've got little cookie crumbles, things like that you want to help keep suspended. When you have a smaller machine, it's a little bit harder to do that, but there is just so much room in this machine. The possibilities are endless. If you want to add in bigger, larger chunks of Oreos last minute, definitely do so you've got bigger chunks coming out. Same thing with whole pieces of fruit. I don't recommend it. Biting into a big old hard strawberry or peach is not fun, and it's not very flavorful. So we're going to let this go for a while before I dump these in, and so that way you have something in every bite.
So with the small machine, will those pieces just sink?
No, you can still do it. You
go
just
ahead.
have to watch it. You have to be a little sooner.
Yes. So like this one, it doesn't have as much room as this one. So when you look at the cylinder on this, it's huge. You could fit a toddler in here. This one, not so much. So as the ice cream is expanding, it starts taking up more volume in your cylinder. This one, even though it's still expanding, you still have a monstrous amount of room to where I could still dump this in at last second if I wanted to and be A-okay. A lot of that is also because we put in 10 quarts. I really still have 2 more quarts of room to play with, well 4 quarts if you include expansion. But this one, you just like you said, be a little bit sooner. And the dasher system on this one, it's so petite and tiny, hardly anything really does sink to the bottom. Just wait a couple minutes before you do, versus you can go 4 or 5 or last minute on this one. Any questions? Well, here, I'll pass this around. It's
What was
just
the question?
Oh, she asked the coffee. Oh, toffee bits. Toffee bits. It's by Heath. It's just Heath pieces. You can buy them in bulk. You can buy them off of the shelf. That's really up to you. If you have a company that you buy in bulk from already for your chips and whatnot, if they have toffee bits, grab those too. These are about $3 a bag, so I spent, like $20-something, but your profit margin is still high. If you want to pass it around, in case anybody's never seen instant coffee.
Yes.
So, like, I think it's Jenny's co-brands their coffee ice cream with intelligentsia, and especially roasted. If you wanted to do that, say with Death Wish, you want to do a Death Wish collaboration on ice cream, how would you do that with their coffee since it's not instant coffee?
Using their name?
Well, even if you weren't.
You mean like to use a real brewed coffee?
Yeah.
So I've learned if I use like an actual liquid coffee in the machine, the flavor's great. It kind of makes the ice cream a little icy on the icy side because it's another liquid, but it's not a fatty liquid. It's just a liquid. I have heard people doing, what was that thing that you had?
Yeah, I have a machine. It's not a machine, but
steep it?
You steep it overnight.
Yeah.
It's like a pot, and it's got a sieve in it, and you pour all the coffee into it, pour the water over, and let it sit overnight.
That
and
works
it
best.
strains through.
Yes, a concentrate would be your best.
It's what you're ending up with is a coffee concentrate. It would work well, but it's time consuming and expensive. And again, this is only going to sell to coffee drinkers. So you're knocking out tea drinkers, you're knocking out children, you're taking a lot of people out of the market. But it's the coffee that's going to bring me into your store. This is going to be our last flavor today, so and then we'll take a tour of the factory. So if you have any questions, now's the time to ask them. They're full. They're full.
Did you want to do it in little pans?
Yeah, several. I'd say 4.
Do you want to do the big ones or the half ones?
These are good. Yes.
So you think my promo?
Yes.
And in different sizes?
Yeah, let me look around here and see. Do we have any squeeze cups? You see them? Now, there's a lady in the front row here who knows her. There's a lady in the front row who knows her stuff about Italian ice. To the world, this is sold by Solo as a pleated water cup. Pleated like a lady's dress. We call that a squeeze cup. And this is the way ice is sold in New York, in a squeeze cup. You don't give a spoon. It's 3.5 ounces, so you use a spade. Do I have a spade? All right, let's say this is my spade. A spade is a flat-sided spoon. And you can take the ice and you can put it here and you fill it up and then you shave the 4 sides. So by filling it over full, it's now 4 ounces. And that's a regular size. We call that a squeeze cup because we do exactly that. We eat the ice and then we squeeze it up like that. I mean, you can buy 4 million of these for $10. They're really cheap.
4 million?
Something like that. This is a 4 ounce. They come 6, 8. More than that, you don't need. But that's a great way to sell it. The other way to sell it, of course, you can sell it in a cup like this, but now you're paying for the cup. You're paying for the spoon. I was doing a trade show once, and there was this lady who came in. She was from Malibu Beach, California. And so I do the squeeze cup. And since she said she was Malibu, I handed her a spoon. She goes, "What's that for?" I said, "So you can eat the ice." And she goes, "Are you kidding me? I'm from Queens, New York," and starts eating it like that. I go, "All right." So, wonderful way to serve it. And when you go into an area that they've never heard of it before and they're asking for a spoon, try this. It'll save you a lot of money, but it's also so much fun that people just really get to like this a lot. And you can do, small, medium, and large in this. And
It's interesting that they never made bigger ones.
they do. You can get 6 and 8 ounce now.
Dude,
Yeah. And they're still only made by Solo. But if you talk to a paper goods guy in New York and say, "I need squeeze cups," he knows exactly what to get you. Anywhere else in the country, they just give you, a deer in the headlights look. So what you're asking for is the Solo pleated water cup, and I can get you the number off it. It's number 450 if you're watching this. Great product.
So for your mini containers that you have up here, do you just sell those containers? Or is this your own personal ice cream?
The best thing that I have ever found, the best thing I ever found out about the ice cream business is the older you get, the longer you wait at doctor's offices. You're going to see some eye surgeon because you're blind in your right eye. And they tell you, bring War and Peace, you're going to be there for 6 hours. Not me. I walk in with ice cream, frozen rock solid with some spoons, and I go, "Hi, I'm here to see Dr. Taylor." And they say, "Oh, well, we'll take the ice cream. It's, he's going to be a few hours." And I go, "No, I want to give it to him personally." "Oh, and look, it's melting." And it gets me right in every time. So there's this one specialist in New York at Presbyterian Eye Institute, Presbyterian Hospital. And I pull this trick twice, and it works very well. Third time, I wait 3 hours. And so I get in there, I'm on a first-name basis with him. I say, "Well, what's the deal here? I waited 3 hours for you." He goes, "Oh, the lady before you brought brownies, and I wasn't hungry." I go, "You're a bum." So they're great bribes. Banks, doctors, anything like that where you think you're going to have to wait, bring ice cream. It's great. That's what you're known for. So it's terrific. So these are disposable, made by gelatosupply.com, as mentioned this morning. And they have lids, which I think we may be out of.
Nope, I ordered more before the show.
Oh, you did. Good for you. Thank you. I drive the Italians crazy, but we make a far better product than they do. I once said this on a bus ride with a tour of people with Malcolm Stogo touring gelaterias in Italy, and I proclaimed that Americans make better gelato than any Italian business in Italy. Well, that was just like saying, the Pope is a Presbyterian. It was just you couldn't say anything worse. And they all yelled at me, and I said, "You want me to prove it?" They go, "Yeah, we dare you." I said, "Okay, I don't even have to taste it." Italy and most of Europe has no dairy cows. They have beef cattle, but they don't have dairy cows. So where do they get the milk? They go down to Argentina where they have the cows. They milk the cows there. They take that milk and they freeze, they spray dry it. It's a process where you ram it through a bunch of screens. It was invented by a family that I grew up with. And they turn it into a powder. They ship that powder to Italy. Italy blends that powder with the other ingredients, and it's delivered just like this. There you go. There's your ice cream mix. It's been sitting here for 4 years, maybe 5. I could still turn it into ice cream tomorrow, and it would be okay. They then had to reconstitute this with water, and that's what they call gelato. You know what we do? We call up the dairy and say, "Hey, those cows you got out there, you're going to milk them at 4 o'clock this afternoon, right?" "Yeah, right. We got to do it at 4. They got to go." You don't stop a cow from wanting to have to go. And then we're going to send it over to the dairy. They're going to blend it tonight. They're going to pasteurize it, meaning they're going to heat it up and kill any bacteria. And we're going to deliver it to you tomorrow morning in these bags at 7 a.m. So from 4 in the afternoon to 7 a.m., that fresh milk has been turned into ice cream mix, and we're going to turn it into ice cream. Whose gelato is better? This stuff, or it's got more sky miles than I'll ever have, or the stuff that came out of the cow at 4 o'clock this afternoon. That's why we're better. Now it's up to the ingredients. I love the Fabry ingredients for making gelato. There's no better. So if I'm going to make gelato, I'm going to buy Fabry flavors. I'm going to buy American Dairy Blend, and we're off to the best in the world. Kendall's here.
Kendall's here.
Kendall is here, and Kendall has a prize for you.
Certificates. I'm gonna just call your name out. If I can pronounce it, Cassia Witters.
Okay.
Pronounce it right?
Thank you, sir. Good to see you. Hey, everybody. Jeff's leaving. Thank you, Jeff. That was definitely an award-seeking class. After Kendall gives out the names, go ahead.
No picture?
Aaron Holbert. I missed the clap.
That was for Jeff. They're still going to clap for you.
She wants a picture of it.
Why?
I don't know.
Because I love this class.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So please put it up on Facebook and say, here's a picture of Jeff and the other guy. The short one.